Chapter 603. Qian Yu no longer cared about maintaining his cool posture, and the gourd at his waist erupted with a circle of purple light, which instantly formed a spiral vortex. Boom! A dull celestial essence explosion erupted, and Ning Cheng's axe fist slammed into the purple vortex, causing a huge gully to appear in the open space. Qian Yu retreated dozens of meters and crashed into a huge ancient tree, breaking it in half. Only then did he stumble to a stop. At this time, not to mention Qian Yu, even the several cultivators who came with Qian Yu stared at Ning Cheng in shock. Although Qian Yu had reacted in a hurry, Qian Yu's strength was well known among the celestial scryer cultivators of the spirit heaven Starland. Yet, even with such strength, a single punch sent him flying. What kind of strength did the opposite party possess? Ning Cheng stared at Qian Yu coldly and did not step forward to continue. If he wanted to kill Qian Yu, he would have already killed him. Although Qian Yu was strong, he was not on the same level as him. If he wanted to kill Qian Yu, then he would also kill the several cultivators who came with Qian Yu. Ning Cheng was decisive in killing and did not want to kill 4 people because of this matter. It was my fault just now. Goodbye. Qian Yu finally calmed down from the horror and spoke to Ning Cheng with cupped fists. He felt sure that this celestial gatherer cultivator in front of him, even the spirit heaven Starland's premier celestial scryer cultivator, Hofanka, would not be this person's opponent. If he continued to stay here, it would only be courting death. Want to leave? My master's words, are you deaf? You burned this Grandpa Chase's tail, and you still want to leave? Not waiting for Ning Cheng to speak, little Chase once again stretched out its hoof and shouted. After scolding, it turned its head and spoke to Ning Cheng in a flattering tone. Master, do you want them to compensate us a little, or do you want to stew them for a meal? Ning Cheng looked at this bull speechlessly, wondering how this fellow should be a bull. It should be a dog, a vicious dog that saw the wind and set the helm. It reminded him of Gray Toot Toot, who stood by Rulin's side. Gray Toot Toot looked like a dog, unlike this bull. It's not my fault. Qian Yu, on the other hand, took out a ring and gave it to Ning Cheng. Friend, please take a look at these spiritual grasses and other materials. The things inside are the things that I obtained in the past few days. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out before he nodded and spoke. In that case, please. Qian Yu did not even bother to say a single word to Ning Cheng, and just waved to the others. Let's go. The few of them quickly disappeared from this place. Senior brother Qian, are we just going to let this matter go? The short cultivator spoke out in a somewhat unhappy tone. Although he was shocked by Ning Cheng's strength, he did not feel happy in his heart. Qian Yu sneered, forget it? If I don't kill this person, how can I just let it go? You guys can leave first. I have some matters to attend to. We'll contact each other again after I'm done with them. After saying that, Qian Yu changed direction and quickly disappeared without a trace. What happened to Big Brother Qian? The female cultivator looked at Qian Yu's disappearing back in doubt. The few of them had agreed to form a team, but because of a small matter, Qian Yu had left the team alone. The cultivator, who had not spoken until now, gave out a sigh and spoke. He went into seclusion to attack the Celestial Bridge Realm. After he advances to the Celestial Bridge Realm, he will definitely come back. A little ant, yet still dared to look for my master. You really overestimate yourself. Even if Qian Yu and the others had already left, the wind-seeking longevity bull still ridiculed them with disdain. Ning Cheng stared at the wind-seeking longevity bull and frowned. He felt that this bull was a bit strange. Master, I think the name Little Chase does not match my image. I want to follow my master and have some prestige. I can't let my master lose face. Should I change my name to Grandpa Chase? The wind-seeking longevity bull scolded Qian Yu and the others, before it immediately turned around and spoke to Ning Cheng with a flattering tone. Ning Cheng snorted, do you want me to call you Ancestor Chase? Only then did the bull understand that although the name he came up with was very awe-inspiring to others, it was very disrespectful to his master. He quickly said, No, I suddenly feel that the name Grandpa Jue is not good. How about I call myself Little Jue? Otherwise, Jue Feng sounds very nice too. Since you don't think Little Chase is good, then let's call you Chasing Bull. Don't be so long-winded. Ning Cheng felt too lazy to talk nonsense with this bull. Chasing Bull immediately nodded and spoke. Master is indeed master. Even changing my name to a single word, it still sounds good. I'm really lucky to be able to follow my master. When you followed your last master, weren't you also very lucky? Ning Cheng did not want to say these words, but he really felt defeated by this stupid bull. Chasing Bull quickly spoke up. How can it be the same? How can my former master compare to my master? It's like the distance between heaven and earth. That fellow was an idiot. Otherwise, how could he not come out of the sea of twilight? Only when I met my master did I become a good bull. As soon as Ning Cheng heard it, he immediately knew that this stupid bull was not an extremely loyal fellow. It was completely a person who saw the wind and set the helm, a person who was shameless and servile. To be honest, Ning Cheng didn't like this kind of bull. Chasing Bull also understood the situation. Seeing Ning Cheng's displeasure, it immediately stopped talking. Ning Cheng walked to Chasing Bull's side and suddenly asked, "That Qian Yu isn't an ignorant person. Why would he care about a grade 3 starry sky demonic beast? Isn't the corporeal body you seized a bit strange?" When Chasing Bull heard Ning Cheng's words, it understood that its master had seen through the problem. It immediately patted its chest and spoke up. Master's insight really is clear at a glance, wise and decisive. Slap, Ning Cheng slapped the wind-seeking longevity bull's head and spoke. Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up. Chasing Bull didn't dare to continue talking. Master, this corporeal body belongs to a wind-seeking heavenly bull. It is a heavenly spirit beast. Once it grows up, it would become extremely powerful. Its most powerful spirit techniques are teleportation and escape techniques. I didn't expect such a spirit beast to exist on this small planet. The biggest weakness of the wind-seeking heavenly bull is that it can easily be seized before it grows up. However, this kind of spirit beast can only seize a body once. That Qian Yu must have chased after this wind-seeking heavenly bull to seize its body. Unfortunately, this kid's ability is not good enough, which made it easy for this Grandpa Jue. Wind-seeking heavenly bull? Ning Cheng also lamented that he had learned too little. Even this stupid bull knew something, yet he didn't know about it. He guessed that Qian Yu didn't snatch the wind-seeking heavenly bull for himself but for his companion beast. Ning Cheng naturally didn't know that the reason why this wind-seeking longevity bull knew that it had seized the body of the wind-seeking heavenly bull was because of the spiritual consciousness fusion. Before the possession, it had no idea about it, just like Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng looked at this stupid bull and sighed. It's a pity that you occupied this wind-seeking heavenly bull's corporeal body. It's just a reckless waste of natural resources, like a tortoise eating barley. Chasing Bull didn't feel ashamed at all. Instead, it spoke up with pride. It's my luck, and it's all thanks to my master. Even if I, Chasing Bull, achieve more, I will still be my master's mount. Ning Cheng ignored Chasing Bull and turned around to leave. He knew that as long as you paid attention to this bull, it would have endless words to say. Chasing Bull, on seeing Ning Cheng turn around and leave, quickly followed behind. It secretly felt proud in its heart, thinking that its master was truly too smart for his own good. With such a good mount, he actually forgot to ride it. However, Ning Cheng had just taken a few steps when he suddenly changed directions. Stimulating the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, he rushed forward at the fastest speed. He finally felt another trace of the origin aura. The immortal jade star really did contain an origin. This matter turned out to be true. Ning Cheng had only flown for an incense stick worth of time when he felt something wrong. He wasn't the only one who felt the origin aura. His spiritual consciousness swept out and found countless cultivators flocking to the same place. Unexpectedly, so many cultivators could feel the origin aura, which caused Ning Cheng's heart to sink. Even among so many cultivators, he felt confident that he could grab the origin. But in case another cultivator with an advantage in speed snatched it away, what would he do? The importance of origin to him was extraordinary. Master, there must be a treasure here. With so many people flocking to it, it must be a big treasure. Chasing Bull's speed didn't slow down. Every time Ning Cheng fell, this fellow would immediately appear by Ning Cheng's side. Chasing Bull, your speed isn't bad, Ning Cheng felt a little surprised and praised it. Chasing Bull spoke up proudly, "That's nothing. It's not even my full speed. My main skills are escape techniques and flying through the air." "That's right. Since you're so fast, why am I still flying on my own?" As Ning Cheng spoke, he landed on Chasing Bull's back. He didn't sit down but stood on the bull's back. Chasing Bull realized that its bragging wasn't very good and subconsciously slowed down. Just a moment ago, it felt proud that its master wasn't riding on its back. But in a blink of an eye, its master was already standing on its back. "Why is my speed slowing down? If I don't have speed, then it would be useless. I might as well go back and peel off its skin and stew it. I haven't eaten a wind-seeking heavenly bull yet. I wonder how it tastes?" Ning Cheng spoke while taking in a deep breath, seemingly savoring the taste of the wind-seeking heavenly bull's meat. The wind-seeking heavenly bull doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste good at all. Master, think about it. With the wind-seeking heavenly bull's speed, it definitely wouldn't be able to bite through its meat. As Chasing Bull spoke, its speed suddenly accelerated and quickly surpassed many cultivators. What kind of demonic beast is this? How can it be so fast? It's a good companion beast, and it has amazing speed. It's nothing much. It's just a wind-seeking longevity bull. Wind-seeking longevity bulls excel in speed, but a black wind-seeking longevity bull is rare. Some cultivators on seeing the bull's speed couldn't help but exclaim out loud. Chasing Bull rushed all the way, leaving many cultivators behind, which made Ning Cheng feel very satisfied. At least the stupid bull wasn't completely useless. "Hey," the cultivator standing on the bull's back, "wait." A powerful spiritual consciousness swept over Ning Cheng, and a voice called out from a distance. When this spiritual consciousness swept over Ning Cheng, he felt a slight chill run down his spine. This definitely wasn't the spiritual consciousness of a celestial gatherer cultivator. No matter how powerful a celestial gatherer cultivator was, their spiritual consciousness couldn't even suppress his body, which meant that this person was a celestial bridge cultivator. Chapter 604. Even if a celestial bridge cultivator wanted him to stop, Ning Cheng simply ignored it. He still let Chasing Bull move in the direction of the origin aura. This celestial bridge cultivator's aura fluctuated between strong and weak. Apparently, he had just advanced to the celestial bridge realm and had not even stabilized his cultivation. He had already killed a celestial bridge powerhouse when he was in the celestial shatterer realm. Now that he had reached the full circle of the celestial gatherer realm, and his spirit techniques had also improved by the day, how could he fear someone who had just advanced to the celestial bridge realm? Seeing Ning Cheng, a celestial gatherer cultivator, ignoring him, this celestial bridge cultivator turned furious. His coercion spread out, suppressing Ning Cheng, while at the same time increasing his speed. Sensing the formidable coercion, the surrounding cultivators all took a big detour to avoid this troublesome place. In just a short time, there were no other cultivators in the vicinity. Ning Cheng stopped and took out a middle-grade Dao artifact long spear from his ring, which he had crafted himself. "You've got guts. Did I call you out just now? Are you deaf? Leave behind your mount and your ring and then fuck off." After Ning Cheng stopped, this celestial bridge cultivator instantly arrived in front of Ning Cheng. The murderous intent spread out along with this sentence, and the dead leaves around Ning Cheng slowly rolled up under the imposing aura of this celestial bridge cultivator, forming a vortex that completely enveloped Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not even speak half a word of nonsense and brought out the long spear in his hand. A faint spear trace tore through the space between the two, and in a blink of an eye, it tore through the killing intent vortex of this celestial bridge cultivator, while a powerful spear intent wrapped around this celestial bridge cultivator. The reason why Ning Cheng did not hesitate to attack was that Ning Cheng understood from the words of this celestial bridge cultivator. Even if he handed over everything to this celestial bridge cultivator, the other party would still kill him. Courting death. Seeing Ning Cheng daring to take the initiative to attack, this celestial bridge cultivator turned furious. It felt as if an ant had challenged his dignity. In his opinion, after hearing his words, this celestial gatherer ant should have taken the initiative to do as he said. Violent celestial essence roared out, causing his robes to rustle. The domain of the celestial bridge cultivator stretched out, wanting to suppress Ning Qing completely. He then reached out and grabbed Ning Qing like a chicken, wanting to ask this ant where did he get the courage from? Unfortunately, his idea of crushing his opponent was good, but compared to his idea, his strength was worlds apart. When the celestial bridge cultivator's domain and Ning Cheng's domain collided, not only did it not gain the slightest advantage, it even tore apart layer by layer. A terrifying heat erupted, and Ning Cheng's long spear had already cut through space and arrived in front of this celestial bridge cultivator. Bang! The celestial bridge cultivator no longer dared to reach out to grab Ning Cheng. Instead, he punched out at Ning Cheng's spear tip. With the sound of flesh and bones bursting apart, the fist of the celestial bridge cultivator shattered under Ning Cheng's spear. The moment the celestial bridge cultivator's fist exploded, the celestial essence imposing aura around his body erupted once again. Ning Cheng's celestial river domain, which held the upper hand, also cracked open, and the celestial bridge cultivator instantly escaped. Standing a few dozen feet away, he stared at Ning Cheng in horror. Good. This celestial bridge cultivator, facing a single move from a celestial gatherer realm cultivator, and even ended up injured, his complexion immediately turned ugly. While shouting good, he also flew out. You want to leave? Ning Cheng gave a snort as he stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, while the long spear in his hand once again shot out a flame-patterned spear shadow. Nothingness flame-patterned spear. This spear was derived from Ning Cheng's axe line. After the spear aura was unleashed, it would sweep up streaks of void spear fire patterns. As his spear's aura took shape, more and more fire patterns appeared. Twin heavenly cloud wings. This celestial bridge cultivator had only flown back a few hundred meters when he saw Ning Cheng once again appearing in front of him. Not only that, the fire-patterned spear tore apart the domain around him like a rag. Stop. The celestial bridge cultivator turned completely terrified. He crazily brought out his iron rod-type magical weapon and screamed in his heart. What kind of celestial gatherer cultivator was this? How could there be such a perverted celestial gatherer cultivator? He really regretted it. How could a cultivator who dared to stand on the back of a bull and run like the wind be simple? He had taken a fancy to that cow, but he had not thought of this. How could Ning Cheng stop? Not only did he not stop, but he also crazily poured out his celestial essence. Ka. The nothingness flame-patterned spear lines completely tore apart the celestial bridge cultivator's domain before it slammed into the iron rod, giving off a series of ka sounds. Poof! The celestial bridge cultivator spat out a mouthful of blood and flew back once again. However, his iron rod had also managed to block Ning Cheng's killing move. Ning Cheng understood that if this celestial bridge cultivator had not been in a hurry to escape, his move would have at most forced the other party to take a few steps back. It would not have such an effect. Celestial bridge cultivators truly were much more powerful compared to celestial gatherer cultivators. Bang! The celestial bridge cultivator was sent flying by Ning Cheng for the second time and once again hit a boulder. Covered in blood, he spoke up in a trembling voice. Friend, please show mercy. I'm Chong Zijin from Culmination Starland's Spiritual Heaven sect. It's not like I can't spare you. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Chong Zijin immediately felt surprised. If Ning Cheng wanted to continue, he would have used his forbidden technique. Even if he could not kill the other party, he could at least let the other party breathe a few breaths before he died. Now that Ning Cheng said that it was not like he couldn't spare him, Chong Zijin immediately felt a desire to live. However, I want to try my nerve knife. Ning Cheng called the spiritual consciousness knife as a nerve knife. Before Chong Zijin could react, he felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness, followed by a spear shadow appearing in front of him. If you can escape this time, I will spare you. As Ning Cheng spoke, Chong Zijin's sea of consciousness turned black, and the terrifying pain made him unable to roll up his iron rod. The next moment, he heard the sound of the long spear piercing through his dantian. Not to mention blocking this move, he could not even put up a slight resistance. What a powerful nerve knife! That was his last thought. A knife that could pierce through his sea of consciousness? How could it not be powerful? Ning Cheng picked up the Celestial Bridge Cultivator's ring and threw a fireball at it before stepping onto Chasing Bull and leaving in a flash. Thinking back to the difficult battle with the Yu clan's Celestial Bridge Cultivator, Ning Cheng truly felt his progress. The difference between the Celestial Gatherer realm and the Celestial Bridge realm was not a small one. However, he had managed to kill a Celestial Bridge Cultivator with a crushing momentum while still in the Celestial Gatherer realm. Of course, this Celestial Bridge Cultivator had just advanced and his cultivation was not stable. Moreover, he had also underestimated him. However, even if this Celestial Bridge Cultivator used his full strength to fight him, Ning Cheng felt confident that he could easily kill this person. When Ning Cheng rushed up on Chasing Bull, some of the cultivators who knew Ning Cheng took the initiative to make way for him. They knew that this cultivator had been stopped by a Celestial Bridge powerhouse, and now that the Celestial Bridge powerhouse had disappeared, this cultivator was still safe and sound. No one wanted to face such a person. As more and more people gathered, the origin aura grew thicker and thicker. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng and the other cultivators arrived at a bright yellow plain. Rather than calling it a plain, it looked more like a yellow lake. Because this was indeed a lake. However, this lake was not sunken, but slightly protruding. Spiritual consciousness could not sweep into this yellow sand lake, and one could only look at it with their eyes. The lake was filled with yellow sand, and the cracks on the sand were like spider webs. The entire yellow sand lake was hundreds of feet in size, and in the center of this yellow sand lake, a bead suspended in the air, exuding a pale yellow color. Earth Origin Bead. Ning Cheng felt shocked. He had obtained the Water Origin Bead and the Fire Origin Bead, but this was the first time he saw the Earth Origin Bead. Seeing the Earth Origin Bead, Ning Cheng almost rushed into the lake. However, he thought about it. Since so many people had not entered, this bead would not be easy to obtain. Ning Cheng still had doubts when another group of cultivators arrived. Among them, a few cultivators who had just arrived rushed into the yellow lake without even thinking about it. The people around them could clearly see these cultivators rushing into the yellow sand lake. However, they only took a dozen steps before their bodies slowly turned stiff and then slumped to the ground. In just a few breaths' time, the cultivators had completely turned into yellow sand and fused with the yellow lake, disappearing without a trace. Ning Cheng sucked in a breath of cold air. What a powerful law! This powerful earth-attributed assimilation law would turn everything into mud. Fortunately, he did not enter the lake. Ning Cheng, like many other cultivators, could only look at the Earth Origin Bead with greedy eyes. As more and more cultivators came over, more and more people rushed in and turned into mud. However, the Earth Origin Bead remained standing in the same place, motionless. The Earth Origin Bead was extremely important to any cultivator. Even if the cultivator did not have an Earth-attributed main spiritual root, the Earth and Wood Origin Beads were still extremely important. However, for Ning Cheng, the Earth Origin Bead was not important. It was something that he had to obtain. Standing by the yellow sand lake, Ning Cheng thought of countless ways to obtain the Earth Origin Bead, but none of them could help him obtain it. Ning Cheng had experienced the first level of the laws of Earth in the 9x9 Celestial Scryer Tower, but compared to this yellow sand lake, that level was like a sunny avenue. If wealth could move people's hearts, then this Earth Origin Bead could attract any cultivator to snatch it. Once someone obtained this Origin Bead, as long as no one found it, they would become an overlord in the future. Some of the cultivators who could not hold back their impulses tried to bring out defensive weapons before slowly approaching the Earth Origin Bead. These cultivators had a good idea. As long as they sensed danger, they would immediately retreat. Unfortunately, after these cultivators entered, none of them could retreat. Not a single one of them was able to retreat. No matter how powerful their defensive treasures were, they were still turned into a pile of dirt in the end. Ning Cheng secretly shook his head. Since he could not use his spiritual consciousness, it would be strange if he brought out a weapon to enter. As time slowly passed, some of the cultivators finally gave out a long sigh and turned to leave the yellow sand lake. Although there were still cultivators coming over, more and more cultivators were leaving. Ning Cheng did not leave, nor did he go in. The Earth origin bead was right in front of him. If he just left like this, he would not feel reconciled. Chapter 605. Time passed day by day. During this period, some cultivators who were not afraid of death kept trying to enter the yellow sand lake. However, once they entered the yellow sand lake, no one was able to approach the earthen beads suspended at the center of the lake. Rather than quenching thirst by admiring the plum blossoms here, it would be better to go somewhere else to look for spiritual herbs. Moreover, even if he obtained the earth origin bead, so what? Would he be able to protect himself if he went out? The cultivators who understood this quickly left. Ning Cheng still did not leave. He sat in a corner of the yellowish-brown lake and continuously slashed out with his spiritual consciousness blades. Coupled with the fact that his spiritual consciousness had a certain penetrative power towards the spiritual consciousness shielding restriction, he soon discovered that his spiritual consciousness blades had a certain effect on the spiritual consciousness shackles here. However, after chopping for a while, he had to stop and recover his spiritual consciousness. Otherwise, his sea of consciousness would be too exhausted. However, once his spiritual consciousness blades split open the surrounding spiritual consciousness shackles, he could then bring out the everlasting Blue Thunder City. Once he had the protection of the everlasting Blue Thunder City, maybe he could really block the assimilation of the Yellow Sand Lake's earth-attributed laws. If he wanted to split open the spiritual consciousness shackles of the Yellow Sand Lake and use the everlasting Blue Thunder City to protect himself, then his spiritual consciousness would have to grow stronger. His starry sky sea of consciousness was already far stronger than ordinary cultivators, so how could he make his spiritual consciousness even stronger? Ning Cheng sat in the distance and thought about it for a long time before standing up. Although he wanted to double the strength of his spiritual consciousness, the prerequisite was that he had to advance to the Celestial Bridge Realm. To advance to the Celestial Bridge Realm, Ning Cheng needed the harmonizing celestial pill. However, it was impossible to obtain the harmonizing celestial pill in the immortal Jade Star. As such, he could only rely on himself to perform alchemy. Since entering the immortal Jade Star, Ning Cheng had obtained the most spiritual grasses. To refine the harmonizing celestial pill, he first had to become a Grade 4 Celestial River Pill King. Moreover, he was now only a step away from becoming a Grade 3 Celestial Pill Master. With his mysterious yellow formless cultivation method and the many starry sky spiritual grasses, it was not impossible for him to become a Grade 4 Celestial River Pill King. Thinking of these, Ning Cheng, who was originally sitting on the lakeside, stood up. He planned to leave this place. Rather than being envious of the fish in the pond, it was better to retreat and form a net. Ning Cheng secretly left a concealed monitoring array disk at the lakeside and quickly left. He was also worried that someone would snatch away the Earth origin bead while he was away. Many cultivators left the Yellow Sand Lake, and many people came over. This place seemed to be always surrounded by people. In the newly opened hidden immortal cave, Ning Cheng, who originally wanted to refine a pill furnace, suddenly grabbed a rusty furnace. This was something that he had found when he was looking for materials for an alchemy furnace. This furnace was originally from the Angry Axe Valley. When he had fought with the Guiyu Hall, he had won this furnace. Ning Cheng felt that this furnace was quite good. He had tried to refine it a few times before, but unfortunately, his spiritual consciousness could not penetrate it at all. Recently, he had been so busy refining weapons and improving his cultivation that he had completely forgotten about this furnace. Now that he saw the stove again, he remembered. Ordinary pill furnaces had 3 legs, but this pill furnace had 5 legs. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness penetrated into the furnace, but unlike before, this time his spiritual consciousness unexpectedly did not encounter even the slightest bit of obstruction, as it easily penetrated into the rusty pill furnace. As Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness began to refine the pill furnace, the rust stains on the outside of the pill furnace automatically fell off, and soon its original color appeared. This was a very inconspicuous light gray pill furnace. If this pill furnace was not refined by oneself and was casually thrown on the side of the road, no one would notice it at all. The more Ning Cheng refined this pill furnace, the more he felt that this pill furnace was different. At the very least, he could not refine a pill furnace of this grade. Ning Cheng originally planned to start refining pills quickly, but it ended up taking him half a month to refine this pill furnace. With a crisp sound coming from the pill furnace, the entire structure and shape of the pill furnace appeared in Ning Cheng's mind. Moreover, this pill furnace had a name, and the furnace name was Traceless. After refining the Traceless pill furnace, Ning Cheng could not wait to take out some starry sky spirit grasses and start refining pills. What surprised Ning Cheng even more was that he could only refine grade 2 celestial pills, but with this pill furnace, he could easily refine grade 3 celestial pills and become a grade 3 celestial pill master. This made Ning Cheng understand that he had long since become a grade 3 celestial pill master. It was just that the grade of his original pill furnace was too low. Not only that, but Ning Cheng's speed in refining pills had also increased by a lot. Ning Cheng could now refine 2 batches of medicinal pills out of the time it took to refine a batch of medicinal pills. Ning Cheng continued to refine piles of starry sky spirit grasses and turn them into piles of celestial-grade medicinal pills. A month later, the starry sky spirit grasses around Ning Cheng had reduced by half, while the medicinal pill bottles around him were piled up one after another. On this day, as Ning Cheng refined a batch of high-quality grade 4 celestial river medicinal pills, the celestial miasma pill, he realized that he had truly advanced to the level of a grade 4 celestial river pill king. This was the first time that his level of alchemy had exceeded his cultivation realm. Previously, whenever he wanted to advance to the next level, he would need to purchase some medicinal pills. But in the future, as long as he could keep his level of alchemy consistent with his cultivation, he would no longer need to buy medicinal pills from others. 3 days later, Ning Cheng took out the essence harmonizing celestial fruits. He wanted to refine the harmonizing celestial pill. The harmonizing celestial pill was a grade 4 celestial river medicinal pill, and Ning Cheng was now a grade 4 celestial river pill king. As such, refining the harmonizing celestial pill did not pose any pressure. The only drawback was that his celestial river flame was on the low side. Fortunately, the celestial river flame was very powerful. Although it was on the low side, with Ning Cheng's powerful starry sky sea of consciousness and celestial essence, it did not have much of an impact. Under the control of Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness, the starry sky spirit grasses quickly fused, separated, and condensed. If someone used their spiritual consciousness to spy on Ning Cheng's pill furnace, they would be shocked to find that Ning Cheng did not use any pill arts for alchemy. Ning Cheng had never systematically studied alchemy with others. As such, he did not know the importance of pill arts. He only knew that he had a pill art, and his pill art constantly changed along with his alchemy. It was just like his cultivation method, which could change at any time. This change was called formless. As Ning Cheng refined more and more medicinal pills, he found that he did not need to use any pill arts. Instead, he could use his starry sky sea of consciousness to shape the medicinal pills according to his will. Basically, as long as he could refine the first batch of medicinal pills, he would not fail again. Moreover, they would all be top-quality medicinal pills. In just half an incense stick worth of time, Ning Cheng brought out a batch of 12 medicinal pills and placed them inside a jade bottle. 12 harmonizing celestial pills, 12 top-quality harmonizing celestial pills. Even if he could easily refine the harmonizing celestial pill, Ning Cheng still clenched the jade bottle in excitement. Refining the harmonizing celestial pill meant that he was about to advance to the celestial bridge realm. Once he advanced to the celestial bridge realm, it meant that he had a chance to obtain the Earth Origin Bead. At the mouth of a canyon millions of miles away from Ning Cheng, a huge exploding golden wasp king stood at the entrance of the canyon. Around this exploding golden wasp king were dozens of smaller exploding golden wasps. Outside the canyon, hundreds of cultivators surrounded this exploding golden wasp king. I know you're an exploding golden wasp king. As long as you give me the soul contract and recognize me as your master, I promise that you'll be fine today. The one who spoke was a cultivator in white robes with 3 distinct celestial wheels behind him, indicating that he was a powerhouse. Not waiting for the exploding golden wasp king to act, A purple-robed cultivator next to him laughed and spoke. Nongjio, do you think wearing white robes makes you whiter than others? There are more than 100 people here, and the exploding golden wasp king can recognize whoever it wants as its master. You're not special. If you don't believe me, you can ask your other friends. The white-robed cultivator's expression changed and spoke in a cold voice. Zhong Sunhong, you're from the demon domain. What kind of companion beast do you not have? Why do you want to compete with me for the exploding golden wasp king? The purple-robed cultivator spoke up with disdain. Everyone wants the exploding golden wasp king. You're not the only one. The white-robed cultivator seemed to fear the purple-robed Zhong Sunhong. Although Zhong Sunhong's words were not pleasant to hear, he still did not turn hostile and spoke up in a deep voice. Then we'll have to rely on our own abilities. Whoever can make the exploding golden wasp king recognize him as its master, the exploding golden wasp king will belong to that person. Good, although it's not possible to make this exploding golden wasp king recognize you as its master, it's not a bad idea to give it a try. Zhong Sunhong was also straightforward and directly agreed with the white-robed cultivator, Nongjio's words. While Zhong Sunhong and Nongjio fought with each other, the cultivators nearby whispered to each other. I heard that the exploding golden wasp king recognizes its master when it's still in its egg. Once it breaks out of its shell, it would be difficult to recognize its master, or rather, impossible. That's because your cultivation is not high enough. As long as your cultivation far surpasses the exploding golden wasp king, the exploding golden wasp king can still recognize you as its master through a soul contract. However, a soul contract is very difficult to recognize, and the exploding golden wasp king is not afraid of death. Although it's difficult, it doesn't mean that it's impossible. When we attack the exploding golden wasp king, I'll also take action. Thinking about bringing a swarm of exploding golden wasps around, I'm full of expectations. I don't want the exploding golden wasps. I just want to enter this canyon and have a look. There must be some good things inside. The exploding golden wasp king can't block a place for no reason. Yes, I have the same idea as you. I just want to enter this canyon. With Nongjio taking the lead, hundreds of cultivators brought out their weapons and attacked the exploding golden wasp king. Seeing the exploding golden wasp king attacked, the exploding golden wasps around the exploding golden wasp king immediately rushed into the crowd. However, dozens of exploding golden wasps still fell short compared to more than 100 celestial gatherer cultivators. Not only was there a huge difference in numbers, but there was also a huge disparity in cultivation. Only a few exploding golden wasps could reach Starry Sky Grade 3 or above. Exploding golden wasps continued to die, and from the dozens of exploding golden wasps, only a dozen remained. However, only one celestial gatherer cultivator died. If not for these cultivators wanting to keep the exploding golden wasp king alive, it would have already died. Ning Cheng found an empty place and prepared to advance to the celestial bridge realm. With a lot of perpetual moon pills and 100 or 200 harmonizing celestial pills, if he could not advance to the celestial bridge realm, then he could only sell a piece of tofu and use it to hit his head. After checking the surrounding terrain, Ning Cheng took out the array flags and planned to arrange a spiritual gathering array and a defensive array. Ning Cheng immediately felt that the exploding golden wasp king, Graceful Star, was under attack and in imminent danger. Ning Cheng felt anger rising in his heart. Someone actually dared to attack his companion beast. It was simply courting death. Activating the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, Ning Cheng instantly disappeared from the place where he was about to cross the tribulation. Chapter 606. No, this exploding golden wasp king already has a master. You can see that it is constantly sending out messages to inform its master. The exploding golden wasp continued to send out messages, which some cultivators had already noticed. Nongjio spoke up with disdain. It's best if it has a master. Once its master is summoned, kill the fellow who doesn't deserve to own the exploding golden wasp. The exploding golden wasp would have no choice but to recognize its master. As I said, I will not intervene in the things in the canyon. I only want the exploding golden wasp. This fellow owns the exploding golden wasp, so he must have a lot of treasures on him. It doesn't matter if the exploding golden wasp does not recognize me as its master. Wait for the things on that cultivator's body, I will share them with you. Huh. When Ning Cheng arrived, he saw more than 100 celestial gatherer cultivators besieging his exploding golden wasp king, Graceful Star. There were 7 or 8 injured exploding golden wasps next to the wasp king, Graceful Star, and dozens of exploding golden wasps' corpses on the ground. Ning Cheng guessed that these exploding golden wasps should be the companions that Graceful Star found in this place. However, with so many celestial gatherer cultivators besieging his companion beast, how could Ning Cheng hold back his anger? It was not a matter of who was right or wrong. Since someone attacked his companion beast, how could he let it go? Bringing out the long spear in his hand, Ning Cheng rolled up a blazing spear trace. The first move he made was the void flame pattern spear. Poof poof poof. Under Ning Cheng's sneak attack, 7 or 8 celestial gatherer cultivators immediately suffered serious injuries, with 3 of them falling on the spot. No one thought that Ning Cheng would immediately attack, let alone kill them. In their view, Ning Cheng came here to snatch the exploding golden wasps. How could they have thought that he would attack them from behind? Kill him. Seeing Ning Cheng come here alone and kill without even asking Qing Hong, it immediately angered the cultivators here. In an instant, dozens of people rushed towards Ning Cheng and bombarded Ning Cheng with attacks. The Wasp King, Graceful Star, was in imminent danger. At this moment, how could Ning Cheng show any mercy? Rushing into the crowd, Ning Cheng rolled up a blazing aura that swept through the entire space. Maximal Flame Spiritual Technique. Ning Cheng rarely used this spiritual technique after advancing to the Celestial Novice realm. However, with so many cultivators besieging him today, he had no choice but to use this spiritual technique. All the cultivators, dragged in by Ning Cheng, felt as if the surrounding space had completely collapsed in an instant. In this collapsed space, it was like a whirlpool, and the whole person was about to be sucked into this whirlpool. Moreover, this whirlpool had a kind of heat, and this heat was getting stronger and stronger. This is spatial collapse, it's the law of space, hurry up and get out of the way. There was no lack of knowledgeable cultivators among the cultivators. Upon seeing this, they immediately shouted, "No, this isn't the law of space. It's a false collapse caused by absorbing the fire element in space." Whether it was a real space collapse or a fake one, everyone knew that as long as they were sucked into it, they would be doomed. At this time, the cultivators here no longer cared about fighting Ning Cheng and immediately started to escape. No matter what, he had to escape this crisis first. Since Ning Cheng chose the Maximal Flame Spiritual Technique, how could he let the cultivators involved escape? At the same time, his Celestial River domain fully cooperated with the Maximal Flame Spirit Technique and stretched out. Boom boom boom. A series of explosions rang out, erupting with a terrifying temperature. Under these violent explosions, it felt as if the space in this area had completely disappeared. After a few screams, a 10-foot-long gully appeared in front of everyone. Of the more than 20 cultivators caught in Ning Cheng's attack, more than half of them had fallen, while a few of them were either seriously injured or couldn't even escape. Before the crowd could see clearly, Ning Cheng had already arrived at the entrance of the canyon. With a harsh chirp, Wasp King Graceful Star landed beside Ning Cheng, followed by the remaining 7 or 8 injured exploding golden wasps behind Wasp King Graceful Star. At this time, even a fool understood why Ning Cheng had attacked. It turned out that this exploding golden wasp king truly had a master, and the master even came. Since they attacked the exploding golden wasp king, it would be strange if the master did not feel angry. "Ha, good skills, you actually killed Qianyu." Zhong Sunhong looked at Ning Cheng and laughed. "You really have a lot of companion beasts. I saw a black bull before, and now I see an exploding golden wasp king. Are you also from my demon domain Starry Sky?" He thought that Ning Cheng had killed Qianyu, but he did not know that Ning Cheng did not kill Qianyu. Instead, he let Qianyu escape. "Who killed my exploding golden wasps? Come out." Ning Cheng ignored Zhong Sunhong and glanced at the rest of the cultivators. Although there were more than 70 people here, Ning Cheng did not feel any fear. Apart from Zhong Suanhong's laughter, All the cultivators here remained silent. No one spoke. Everyone had seen Ning Cheng's power just now. After killing nearly 20 people, not to mention injuries, not even a single wrinkle could be seen on his clothes. No one wanted to fight against such a powerhouse. Sorry, I didn't know that the exploding golden wasps belonged to you, so I killed one of your exploding golden wasps. This is my compensation. Goodbye. Zhong Sunhong threw a storage ring to Ning Cheng before turning around and flying out. Seeing Zhong Sunhong turn around and leave, Nong Jio's expression turned ugly. He did not expect the master of the exploding golden wasp king to be such a powerful fellow. He had also seen Ning Cheng's power a moment ago. If it was a one-on-one fight, he estimated that he would not be Ning Cheng's opponent. However, Zhong Sunhong, this coward, turned around and left. Zhong Sunhong turned around and left, followed by a few more people. Obviously, no one wanted to fight against a ruthless person like Ning Cheng. Moreover, the immortal Jade Star had many good things. Staying here and risking their lives without unity was something only a fool would do. As these people left, Ning Cheng did not chase after them. After all, he was only one person. What do you say? Nong Jio looked back at the 30 or 40 people who stayed behind and asked in a deep voice. If no one wanted to fight, he would rather compensate them and leave. If there was someone here who wanted to get rid of this arrogant brat like him, then he would definitely not hold back. Although he could not beat the other party alone, there were 30 or 40 people here. If everyone worked together, he did not believe that they could not beat a celestial gatherer cultivator. What do you say? This person is so arrogant. He killed a dozen of our people the moment he arrived. If we just let him go, it would be too easy for him. A robust male cultivator gave a cold snort. Nong Jio felt happy in his heart and immediately spoke up, then let's do it together. We have 30 or 40 people, why would we fear a puny celestial gatherer cultivator? Let's go. While speaking, Nong Jio brought out the weapon in his hand. Seeing Nong Jio take action, the other 30 or so people immediately brought out their weapons. Everyone knew that to kill this cultivator, they had to work together. This time, Ning Cheng directly brought out the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort. At the same time, his long spear drew a shadowless spear arc and shot towards Nong Jio. He could see that Nong Jio had the highest cultivation here. As long as he killed Nong Jio, the other cultivators would not be worth mentioning. The might of the everlasting Blue Thunder City could be seen at a glance at this moment. As the lights from the magical weapons bombarded the everlasting Blue Thunder City, it caused the semi-real shadow of the everlasting Blue Thunder City to give out ka sounds. However, none of the attacks managed to land on Ning Cheng. By this time, Ning Cheng's long spear had already cut through the distance between him and Nong Jio and locked onto the white-robed cultivator. Nong Jio felt the killing power of the spear intent seeping into his domain and immediately realized that something bad had happened. He never thought that Ning Cheng would dare to target him alone, completely ignoring the other attacks. Was this not courting death? What he did not know was that no matter who had a defensive weapon like Ning Cheng, they could completely ignore the other attacks. As the killing power of the spear intent seeped into Nong Jio's domain, Nong Jio frantically retreated. He had to avoid this move first. As long as he avoided this move, the other party would be at an absolute disadvantage. Although the opponent's half-real shadow of the Blue Thunder Fort was powerful, no matter how powerful it was, it could not block the joint attack of more than 30 Celestial Gatherer cultivators. Gotcha! The everlasting Blue Thunder Fort's shadow completely shattered. Nong Jio had not guessed wrong. The rest of the attacks from the magical weapons finally fell onto Ning Cheng's body without missing a single one. Blood splashed out, and Nong Jio could even hear the sound of bones breaking. He knew that this cultivator was seriously injured, but he did not feel happy at all. His domain completely collapsed at this moment, and an even more powerful domain bound him. At the same time, the killing intent from the spear intent that permeated his bone marrow grew even stronger. Poof! Nong Jio's body was finally locked down by the Celestial River domain and the spear intent. But in that moment of sluggishness, Ning Cheng's spear tip pierced through his glabella. Nongjio looked at the spear handle in front of him sluggishly, his heart filled with unwillingness. Where did this cultivator come from, and why had he never heard of him before? Under the siege of more than 30 people, this fellow still managed to kill him with a single spear strike? The cultivators besieging Ningcheng felt a little sluggish the moment they saw Ningcheng kill Nongjio. But at this moment, Ningcheng completely ignored his injuries and once again slashed out with the spear in his hand. A spear trace with a fiery aura instantly cut through a distance of a few hundred feet behind him, and around this fiery spear trace, a spear trace stretched out one after another. This nothingness flame-patterned spear trace was almost the same as his axe trace. Poof poof poof. As Ningcheng's spear grew stronger and stronger, a bloody mist filled the space around him. In just a blink of an eye, nearly 10 people once again died under the fiery spear traces. The exploding golden wasps on the side, on seeing someone get injured, once again rushed up. Nongjio died, and Ningcheng's spear at the back was so powerful that the remaining cultivators no longer wanted to stay here and fight against Ningcheng. In just a flash, they all flew out and disappeared without a trace. If they could obtain treasures by staying here, then they might have been willing to stay here. Staying here would only result in a meaningless fight against a powerhouse. They were not fools to continue staying here. Ningcheng's long spear fell to the ground and stabilized his swaying body. He then took out a few medicinal pills and swallowed them. None of the cultivators who entered the immortal Jade Star were weak. If more than 30 ordinary celestial gatherer cultivators besieged him, even if he ended up injured, he would not have suffered such serious injuries. Moreover, it was because he was a body-forging cultivator. Otherwise, he would have suffered even more serious injuries. With his injuries slightly healed, Ningcheng raised his hand and put away a few rings. Since these cultivators could stay in this place for such a long time, their rings were definitely not bad. Although the injuries were not light, it was still worth it for Ningcheng. He had also gained a lot. Not bad. In just a few months, you managed to reach Starry Sky Grade 2. Ningcheng threw a ring full of medicinal pills to Graceful Star and praised him. The exploding golden wasp king Graceful Star could advance to Starry Sky Grade 2 demonic beast in just a few months. In addition to the rich resources of the immortal Jade Star, the potential of the exploding golden wasp king was also very strong. The exploding golden wasp king sent out a joyful message. At the same time, it also told Ningcheng that there was a large number of exploding golden wasps in this canyon. However, there was also an exploding golden wasp king in this canyon. Therefore, it had to kill this exploding golden wasp king before it could let the rest of the exploding golden wasps follow it. Ningcheng suddenly understood why Graceful Star chose to stay here. Chapter 607. At this time, outside the immortal Jade Star, in addition to the 4 huge void airships of the 4 grand starry skies, there were many more small ships. In the middle of these ships, someone had even built a large starry sky public square. This starry sky public square had a variety of shops, which apparently catered to the cultivators entering the immortal Jade Star. Once these cultivators came out of the immortal Jade Star, they would definitely bring out a lot of starry sky spirit grasses and materials, and even some rare treasures. Most of the cultivators would sell their gains in this place. A little further away, a gray-black airship floated in the air. The color of this airship was almost the same as the surrounding starry skies. If one did not look closely, one would not even notice it. At this time, inside the luxurious cabin of this airship, a huge array formation display screen stood on one of the cabin walls. 4 men sat in the room, staring at the huge array formation display screen. If Ningcheng were here, he would have at least recognized one of them, Heavenly Emperor Leveled Heart, the middle-aged Confucian scholar. In addition to the middle-aged Confucian scholar, there was also a young and beautiful woman. If it wasn't for her phoenix eyes that were too intimidating, she would be a perfect woman. Unfortunately, although this pair of eyes was awe-inspiring, it added a trace of coldness and sharpness to this woman. She did not have the gentleness that women had. This woman was the premier of the Grand Spirit Heaven Starry Skies, Yi Jiufeng. Cultivators familiar with this woman knew that this woman was originally called Yi Jiuhuang. However, after she advanced to the Eternal Realm, she changed her name to Jiufeng. There were two other people. One was a long-bearded old man with a dark face. His name was Qiao Jirwei, the strongest powerhouse from the Devil Domain. The other was a strong and muscular man with a bare upper body, looking like a barbarian. However, no one dared to underestimate this person. He was the strongest powerhouse from the Demon Domain, Zhangkong Tianji. The array formation display that the four people were looking at only showed a single yellow sand lake. This yellow sand lake had a lot of cultivators surrounding it, with a bead suspended in the middle. This was the location where the immortal jade star's Earth origin bead would appear. The cultivators around the yellow sand lake probably did not know that their every move was being closely watched. Previously, there was a cultivator standing on the back of the origin bead lake. That cultivator then left. That black bowl doesn't seem simple. After Devil Domain's old man Qiao Jirwei finished speaking, he looked at Demon Domain's expert Zhangkong Tianji. Even he could see that this black bowl was not as simple as it seemed, and Zhangkong Tianji had already seen it. Not waiting for Zhangkong Tianji to answer, Jiufeng raised her phoenix eyes. What's not simple about it? Even an idiot can see that it is a real spirit beast, the wind-seeking heavenly bowl. I didn't expect that the immortal jade star would have this kind of spirit beast. As for the cultivator standing on the god beast, I don't think I saw him coming from that starry sky. We cannot say for sure that this wind-seeking heavenly bowl came from the immortal jade star. It is also possible that this cultivator brought it with him. Didn't you see that this wind-seeking heavenly bowl has already become his beast companion? As for that cultivator, I'm sure he's disguised himself. Zhangkong Tianji said flatly. After a pause, Zhangkong Tianji added, besides, we have not found many things in the immortal jade star. Do you know where the starry sky wheel is? Do you know where the wind thunder apricot tree is? Chuan Xinlo nodded. Yes, he should have changed his appearance. Since this cultivator could subdue the wind-seeking heavenly bowl, he must not be a simple person. He also left behind a monitoring array disk before he left. Presumably, he would come back again. Brother Leveled Heart, do you think that the junior with the good fortune treasure would appear in the immortal jade star? Zhangkong Tianji seemed to be more polite to Chuan Xinlo than to Jiufeng. Chuan Xinlo pondered for a moment. It's hard to say. Even after a few months, no one has gone in to collect the Earth origin bead. Moreover, no special cultivator has come close to it. It really feels strange. According to reason, the Earth origin bead would only appear because a good fortune treasure appeared in this place. As such, the person with the good fortune treasure would definitely know about it. Since he knows about it, he would definitely try his best to take away the Earth origin bead. Maybe he entered the immortal jade star but got delayed by something else. Qiao Jirwei showed a smile. Brother Leveled Heart, the immortal jade star is the closest to the culmination starland. Therefore, the kid with the good fortune treasure most likely came from the culmination starland. Last time, I heard that a cultivator called Jiangzhou's Wanderer from the culmination starland reached the 81st floor of the 9x9 celestial scryer tower. Many people said that he did not come down, which made me a little confused. Hearing Qiao Jirwei's words, Jiufeng and Zhangkong Tianji also looked at Chuan Xinlo with a strange expression. Chuan Xinlo showed a smile and spoke without any abnormalities on his face. Does Brother Qiao think that I took away the Jiangzhou's Wanderer and suspect that the good fortune treasure is on that Jiangzhou's Wanderer? Qiao Jirwei spoke with a fake smile. I did not say that. Chuan Xinlo nodded. It's no wonder that Brother Qiao has doubts. I also suspect that the good fortune treasure is on that Wanderer. After all, he is the only one who managed to reach the 81st floor of the celestial scryer tower. As far as I know, to reach the 81st floor, one must have a certain understanding of the laws of space and even the laws of time. Moreover, the other party is just a celestial scryer cultivator, which is obviously beyond our expectations. If he had a good fortune treasure, then it would explain everything. However, Brother Qiao seems to have forgotten that the four of us made a blood sacrifice oath. The good fortune treasure belongs to the four of us. Unless the four of us reach an agreement one day, it will never change. Could it be that Brother Qiao does not remember our oath? Although I, Chuan Xinlo, am unworthy, I will not take my blood oath as a joke. Zhang Kong Tianji quickly showed a smile. What Brother Leveled Heart said is correct. I have never doubted Brother Leveled Heart. I heard that a fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe appeared in Eternal Heaven's starry sky city. I don't know if Brother Leveled Heart has gone to check it out. Although Zhang Kong Tianji said that he trusted Chuan Xinlo on the surface, the fact was that a fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe had already appeared in Eternal Heaven's starry sky city. Chuan Xinlo showed a slight smile and didn't even bother to answer. Yi Jiufeng suddenly spoke up. Do you think that the Earth origin bead appeared because of the fragment of the indestructible axe? Chuan Xinlo did not have the slightest intention to avoid suspicion and spoke with a flat tone. A fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe cannot trigger the appearance of the Earth origin bead. I'm sure that a complete good fortune treasure has appeared. Ning Cheng, along with the exploding golden wasp king, graceful star, had already left the entrance of the canyon. He wanted to find a group of helpers for his exploding golden wasp king, so he would not go in at this time. He was about to advance to the celestial bridge realm. Even if he wanted to go in, he would have to wait until he advanced to the celestial bridge realm. On an open plain, Ning Cheng arranged a huge spiritual gathering array, along with several defensive array formations and shielding array formations. He then took out the praying mat he obtained from the Time Wilderness and sat down. Ning Cheng threw out a pile of perpetual moon pills and swallowed a harmonizing celestial pill. Under the operation of the mysterious yellow formless, rich celestial essence immediately formed one essence chi whirlpool after another around Ning Cheng. Even graceful star and chasing bull, who stood guard around Ning Cheng, quickly absorbed the rich starry sky essence chi. If not for the shielding array formations, Ning Cheng would have already been discovered by others with such a big movement. Fortunately, Ning Cheng's attainments in array formations far surpassed the cultivators here. Although the shielding array formations he arranged could not completely eliminate the starry sky essence chi fluctuations, it would at least prevent people from flocking over. At this time, the celestial essence fluctuations in Ning Cheng's body had already reached a limit. Coupled with the ignition of the harmonizing celestial pill, the celestial essence fluctuations turned even more violent. The violent starry sky essence chi fluctuations flooded through all of Ning Cheng's meridians. Soon, Ning Cheng found that his meridians had reached a certain level of toughness. Even if the celestial essence fluctuations doubled in strength, they would not be able to tear apart his meridians. This made Ning Cheng feel relieved and swallowed 2 more harmonizing celestial pills. Sure enough, as the harmonizing celestial pills continued to burn, the celestial essence within Ning Cheng's body grew even crazier. This time, not only did it impact his meridians, but it also impacted his sea of consciousness. Ning Cheng grew even more delighted. This was the first time that his sea of consciousness had experienced such an impact before advancing. Only by experiencing such an impact would one obtain a greater harvest. Otherwise, although his sea of consciousness would grow a lot stronger after advancing, it would not undergo a qualitative change. Now that the violent celestial essence aura had a place to vent, Ning Cheng no longer had any scruples. In order to let his sea of consciousness experience a powerful advancement, he poured the entire bottle of harmonizing celestial pills into his mouth. Boom! This time, Ning Cheng felt as if he had ignited a dynamite warehouse. A horrifying celestial essence burning power erupted from Ning Cheng's body. His meridians started to tear apart inch by inch, and cracks started to appear. Even his starry sky sea of consciousness started to feel extreme pain. Ning Cheng felt horrified. Only then did he understand that this harmonizing celestial pill did not double the effect. Instead, once the quantity reached a certain level, it would undergo a qualitative change. The medicinal efficacies of the harmonizing celestial pill were already violent enough, but there were still many more perpetual moon pills around him. These perpetual moon pills also started to burn under Ning Cheng's mysterious yellow formless. This pure starry sky essence chi poured into Ning Cheng's body like it was free. However, this was not the end. The praying mat he sat on also started to provide him with a large amount of rich starry sky essence chi. At this moment, Ning Cheng felt as if he was about to explode. Not only did his clothes start to tear apart, but even the area around him started to crack apart. After his clothes started to tear apart, his skin started to slowly show traces of blood. Ning Cheng's forehead started to sweat profusely. No one had reminded him to do something stupid. If he couldn't hold on, he might have been the first cultivator to explode under the effects of the harmonizing celestial pill. There should have been a lot of cultivators who ended up exploding under the effects of medicinal pills. However, exploding under the effects of the harmonizing celestial pill was just too ridiculous. Just how precious was the harmonizing celestial pill? Just one of them already cost a fortune. Who would be stupid enough to explode under the effects of the harmonizing celestial pill? The mysterious yellow formless crazily revolved the heavenly circulation technique. At this moment, his formless cultivation method acted like a huge millstone, grinding away a large amount of starry sky essence chi. However, even so, it still couldn't consume all the terrifying celestial essence at once. Moreover, this terrifying celestial essence kept growing stronger and stronger. At this moment, Ning Cheng suddenly felt a barrier blocking his cultivation. With a roar, he stimulated the celestial essence that was on the verge of exploding. Chapter 608. Boom! A loud explosion erupted, followed by darkness above Ning Cheng's head. This was not Ning Cheng breaking through the cultivation barrier, but a terrifying thunder tribulation. Ka! At the same time, a faint sound that only Ning Cheng could feel rang out from within his body. At this moment, Ning Cheng realized that he had opened a crack in the cultivation barrier to the celestial bridge realm. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to rejoice, 36 thick lightning arcs descended. Boom boom boom. Lightning arcs continuously bombarded Ning Cheng's body, causing his flesh and blood to splatter out. Ning Cheng deliberately did not bring out the everlasting blue Thunder City because he wanted to use these lightning arcs to quench his body and will. At the same time, he also had a thunder-attributed spiritual root, which would help him absorb the thunder source. Kaka! Just the first wave of the thunder tribulation had caused Ning Cheng's bones to shatter inch by inch, causing his flesh and blood to splatter out. Although his body forging had reached the rank 9 god body, this thunder tribulation in the celestial bridge realm was several levels more powerful than a rank 9 god body. This kind of power was not something he could withstand. Ning Cheng knelt on one knee on the ground, covered in blood. He still did not bring out the blue Thunder City. For the sake of body forging, he had suffered much more pain and suffering than this, but he had endured it all. Now that he could not even survive the first wave of the thunder tribulation, how could he rush out of this place? How could he search for the gate of good fortune with Tsang Wei? What's more, at this moment his body was bursting with powerful essence chi. Although the thunder tribulation had left him scarred, it had also eased the expansion of essence chi in his body to a certain extent. Enduring the tearing pain of his broken bones, Ning Cheng stimulated the still violent celestial essence within his body and once again attacked the cultivation barrier to the celestial bridge realm. Ka! The first wave of the thunder tribulation had not yet passed, and the remaining lightning arcs had yet to dissipate from Ning Cheng's body when the second wave of the thunder tribulation descended. Looking at the imposing manner, it looked like there would be at least 36 lightning arcs. Ning Cheng gritted his teeth but still did not bring out the everlasting blue Thunder City. Instead, he crazily pushed his celestial essence towards the cultivation barrier to the celestial bridge realm. The subtle ka-lu sounds within his body finally converged into a torrent. It felt as if a primal chaos had opened up, and a feeling of extreme ease flooded Ning Cheng's heart. That incomparably violent celestial essence, at this moment, finally found a vent. At this moment, whether it was the intensity of Ning Cheng's celestial essence, the toughness of his meridians, or even his starry sky's sea of consciousness, all of them started to grow crazily. Boom boom boom. The second wave of thunder tribulation arcs finally descended. This wave of thunder tribulation arcs was much thicker than the first wave of thunder tribulation arcs, without any interval, fell onto Ning Cheng's body. However, at this time, Ning Cheng not only did not suffer any more serious injuries, but the injuries that he had originally suffered were also rapidly recovering. At this moment, the harmonizing celestial pills berserk celestial essence force, the perpetual moon pills terrifying burning essence chi, and the thunder spiritual source that fell on Ning Cheng's body and was absorbed by Ning Cheng, all of these caused Ning Cheng's cultivation to rapidly increase. Even if Ning Cheng's cultivation speed had always been very fast, he had never experienced such a terrifying rate of progress in his cultivation. His cultivation base was soaring, his injuries were disappearing, and his sea of wisdom was expanding. As soon as this wave of thunder tribulation passed, Ning Cheng was able to stand up. Millions of perpetual moon pills burned around him, forming a pill mist. Just as Ning Cheng's cultivation rose, the third wave of thunder tribulation descended. Ning Cheng did not bring out the everlasting blue thunder city for the first and second waves of thunder tribulation. As such, for this third wave of thunder tribulation, he would not bring out the everlasting blue thunder city. Unfortunately, he did not know how the body forging cultivation method would work, and he could not use his mysterious yellow formless to deduce it. Otherwise, this thunder tribulation would have definitely helped him in his body forging. Ning Cheng surmounted the tribulation amidst the crazy thunder arcs, while Chasing Bull and Graceful Star, who stood in the distance to protect Ning Cheng, felt stunned. Chasing Bull, on the other hand, felt even more stunned. It had seen too many people surmounting tribulations. It had also seen Celestial Bridge Realm thunder tribulations, but when had it ever seen such a powerful thunder tribulation? In the face of this thunder tribulation, ordinary Celestial Bridge cultivators might not even survive the first wave of thunder arcs. Master's thunder tribulation is very powerful. It's almost the same as a heaven-seated realm thunder tribulation. Chasing Bull smacked its lips and spoke. After saying that, it remembered that this exploding golden wasp king could not speak. It could not help but look at the exploding golden wasp king with contempt. I say, Graceful Star, you have to speed up your cultivation. You can't even speak now. If you follow Master in the future, you will only bring shame to Master's face. Do you know that? The exploding golden wasp king had been absorbing the overflowing perpetual moon pills, pill chi, for cultivation. But because Ning Cheng's thunder tribulation was too terrifying, it immediately attracted its attention. Now that a stupid bull dared to say that it would bring shame to Master's face, it immediately spread its wings and issued a terrifying chi-chi sound from its mouth. The powerful Wasp King's imposing manner instantly pressed down on Chasing Bull. Seeing the exploding golden wasp king angry, the exploding golden wasps following behind the exploding golden wasp king immediately surrounded Chasing Bull in the middle. Each exploding golden wasp let out a sharp chi-chi sound. Elder brother, I was just joking. Can't you make a joke? You're too stingy. You win, this grandpa bull will let you. Facing the exploding golden wasp king's anger, Chasing Bull immediately turned timid and quickly retreated dozens of steps, giving way to the side. At the same time, it swore in its heart that after Master finished surmounting the tribulation, it would definitely teach this little wasp a lesson. Ning Cheng looked up at the gradually clearing sky and knew that the thunder tribulation had finally passed. Finally, the rich essence chi fell, causing the little injuries on him to disappear without a trace. After a few dirt removal techniques, Ning Cheng changed into a new set of robes and swept out with his spiritual consciousness. The surroundings instantly cleared up, and his starry sky sea of consciousness also gained a higher level. At this moment, Ning Cheng felt that he could easily kill a celestial gatherer cultivator with a single spiritual consciousness blade. Wasn't this powerful celestial essence several times stronger than before? The celestial river domain had also become more solid, and the space it covered had also grown wider. Was this the celestial bridge realm? An inexplicable sense of self-confidence welled up in his heart. Sure enough, only with greater strength would one have greater self-confidence. Although he had advanced to the celestial bridge realm, he still did not have a celestial wheel. However, Ning Cheng did not care about celestial wheels at this moment. With a flash of his thoughts, 3 vague celestial wheels appeared behind him. He wanted to head to the yellow sand lake to snatch the mysterious yellow bead. Making people think that he was only a celestial gatherer cultivator would have a better effect. Before heading to the Yellow Sand Lake, he had to find a group of thugs for Graceful Star. Master, congratulations on stepping into the Celestial River realm and becoming a Celestial Bridge powerhouse. Seeing Ning Cheng put away the spiritual gathering array and come out, Chasing Bull immediately came up to Ning Cheng and flattered him. Ning Cheng had just advanced to the Celestial Bridge realm and was in a good mood. Therefore, he did not feel that Chasing Bull's flattery was harsh to the ears. Instead, he nodded with some pride. When Master was surmounting the tribulation, I felt very worried and anxious. I didn't even dare to blink for even a moment. However, Graceful Star only cared about cultivation and didn't care about Master's safety at all. Seeing Ning Cheng in a good mood, Chasing Bull immediately complained. Ning Cheng flew over and landed on Bull's back mountain. Is there any use in being anxious? The sooner you become like Graceful Star, the more important thing is to improve your strength. Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up and go to the valley where Graceful Star stayed before. We'll go and kill the other exploding golden wasp king. Yes, Master. Chasing Bull lowered its head and replied in a weak voice. If it had known that it would end up kissing the horse's leg, it would not have acted so insensibly. Once again, Ning Cheng arrived outside the valley where the exploding golden wasp king, Graceful Star, stayed. The valley was full of potholes, indicating that a great battle had taken place here. Wait a minute, I'll check out the situation first. Ning Cheng stopped Graceful Star and Chasing Bull from rushing in. He had personally witnessed the power of the exploding golden wasps. The exploding golden wasps had almost destroyed the rootless Black City, but he had managed to lure the exploding golden wasps away. Moreover, the exploding golden wasps in that place were all low-leveled starry sky demonic beasts. Moreover, the exploding golden wasps on the immortal Jade Star were obviously not low-leveled demonic beasts. Therefore, Ning Cheng had to be cautious. In case he ended up surrounded by the exploding golden wasps, it would turn out to be a disaster. After all, his twin wings of the heavenly clouds could not be considered as a true teleportation. Instead, he needed space to escape. He did have a breaking boundary talisman, but it was a life-saving item. He did not want to waste it casually. After advancing to the Celestial Bridge realm, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had grown much stronger compared to when he was in the Celestial Gatherer realm. Moreover, his starry sky sea of consciousness had also grown even more boundless. Previously, when he used his spiritual consciousness to probe inside, he could only see a blur inside the valley. But now, his spiritual consciousness could easily penetrate through the blur, and he could see a stretch of continuous cliffs. The scene in front of him caused Ning Cheng to feel sluggish. How was this an exploding golden wasp swarm? It was more like a kingdom of exploding golden wasps. Each cliff was surrounded by exploding golden wasps. Layer upon layer, one couldn't even tell how many there were. Even if one of the exploding golden wasps flew out, Ning Cheng could tell that it was at least a starry sky grade 3. Moreover, these exploding golden wasps even contained starry sky grade 4 and starry sky grade 5 wasps. From this, Ning Cheng understood that the exploding golden wasp king was most likely a starry sky grade 7 demonic beast. If he brought Chasing Bull and Graceful Star inside without asking any questions, it would simply be courting death. Ning Cheng frowned and looked back at Graceful Star behind him before speaking up with dissatisfaction. Even the worst exploding golden wasps here are at least starry sky grade 3. The few of us wouldn't even be enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. You haven't even investigated the situation clearly, yet you want to snatch the throne of this place. You're simply courting death. Graceful Star truly hadn't investigated the situation clearly. He had just arrived here when he saw some scattered exploding golden wasps. Therefore, he decided to gather these exploding golden wasps together. However, before he could enter and occupy the throne of the Wasp King, a group of cultivators stopped him. If I had known this earlier, I would have let those 100 or so cultivators go in and make a fortune. Watching these cultivators surrounded by swarms of exploding golden wasps, it would have been more interesting. Ning Cheng sighed. He had blocked the entrance to the valley for a long time, but it turned out that he had saved those people's lives. It truly made him depressed. However, It was also thanks to these fellows. If not for these fellows stopping Graceful Star would have also rushed in. From this, one could imagine that an exploding golden wasp king with small arms and legs like Graceful Star would definitely die if it entered the exploding golden wasp kingdom. At this moment, the exploding golden wasp's swarm seemed to have discovered Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness and started to stir. A swarm of exploding golden wasps immediately rushed out. Graceful Star, enter the miniature world. Chasing Bull, head to the yellow sand lake immediately. Seeing the exploding golden wasp swarm alarmed, Ning Cheng quickly put away Graceful Star and stepped onto Chasing Bull. In just a few breaths, they had already left this place. Chapter 609. Ning Cheng had left in time. As such, the exploding golden wasps did not notice Ning Cheng. Otherwise, with the exploding golden wasp's nature, they would have definitely caught up to him. Ning Cheng had come to the yellow soil lake a few months ago. But this time, he had not arrived yet, when his spiritual consciousness swept out and found that the yellow soil lake was still crowded with cultivators. From this, it could be seen that no one could refuse the attraction of the Earth Origin bead. Ning Cheng had already advanced to the Celestial Bridge realm. As such, Chasing Bull became even more arrogant, and he quickly arrived at the edge of the yellow soil lake. Before arriving here, Ning Cheng saw several cultivators confronting each other. These people were all at the edge of the yellow soil lake, and one of them was a female cultivator. Ning Cheng also knew this female cultivator, Shi Qionghua's senior apprentice sister Jingyi, who still wore a veil over her face. On the other side were 3 cultivators, 2 of whom Ning Cheng also knew. He had driven them away from the entrance of the exploding golden wasp's canyon. Ning Cheng did not expect that these 2 fellows would come to the yellow soil lake and confront Jingyi after leaving. Seeing Jingyi, Ning Cheng immediately thought of Shi Qionghua. Go! Ning Cheng only spoke 2 words, and Chasing Bull immediately rushed over, completely ignoring the surrounding cultivators. The surrounding cultivators, on seeing Chasing Bull rush over, immediately gave way to both sides. They did not care about a bull, but someone standing on the back of a bull and acting so arrogantly, it showed that this person was not a simple person. The cultivators who came here either wanted to see the Earth Origin bead, obtain the Earth Origin bead, or see if they could comprehend something from the Earth Origin bead. They naturally did not want to clash with an arrogant cultivator. Arrogant people should be dealt with by arrogant people. Several powerful cultivators, on seeing Ning Cheng standing on the back of the bull with an arrogant look on his face, frowned in dissatisfaction. Even they would not act arrogantly at the edge of the yellow soil lake. So where did this fellow come from? How could he be so arrogant? The few cultivators confronting Jingyi immediately turned their attention to Ning Cheng, especially the 2 fellows who knew Ning Cheng, who stared at Ning Cheng nervously. They worried that Ning Cheng had come to settle accounts with them. Even with so many people, they could not deal with this bull-riding cultivator. Now that there were only 3 of them, they did not even need to think about it. They knew that they would not be Ning Cheng's opponents. Jingyi also took a step back and stared at Ning Cheng with vigilance. It's the 2 of you again? Ning Cheng did not even come down from the bull's back, as his condescending eyes glanced at the few people in front of him. Friend, we have nothing to do with you here. Previously, we took the initiative to give way. Don't you think it's a little too much for you to chase us here? A middle-aged man stared at Ning Cheng and spoke in a reasonable tone, but the fact was that everyone could hear that his words were somewhat timid and weak. Why are you confronting each other here? Don't they know that this is where the origin bead is? If you don't like to look at the origin bead, don't block other people's interest. Although Ning Cheng did not have a favorable impression of Jingyi, but in this place, he would certainly help Shi Qionghua's senior apprentice sister Jingyi in his heart. Previously, he had seen that Shi Qionghua had not entered the immortal Jade Star. Now that Jingyi was here, he wanted to confirm it. At this moment, Jingyi also saw that Ning Cheng and the cultivators confronting her had some contradictions. She stood up and cupped her fists towards Ning Cheng before speaking. This Dao friend, I obviously came to this place first, but these cultivators who came later insisted that I give up this position. So it turned out that they were confronting each other over such a trivial matter, Ning Cheng felt a little speechless. It seems that Jing Yi was not a good person. If it were someone who saved trouble, then maybe he would have let it go. That's right, your ancestor must have taken a fancy to this place. Also, this kid, do you think that you are a bull just because you are riding on a stupid bull? Get lost, or I will kick you into the lake. The cultivator who did not know Ning Cheng did not even put Ning Cheng in his eyes. When his two companions heard this, they immediately knew that it was not good. They had seen Ning Cheng's strength with their own eyes. When Ning Cheng heard that the two sides were quarreling over a spot, he did not want to ask about it. He just wanted to ask about Shi Qianghua and then leave. If he wanted to be arrogant, then he must have a legitimate reason. Now that he did not even have a legitimate reason, he could not be arrogant. He did not expect that someone would actually want to kick him into the lake. He had come here deliberately to be arrogant, to let people know about his domineering nature. That way, when it came time to snatch the origin bead, those who did not like to meddle would not bother him. Now that someone took the initiative to look for trouble, why would he remain polite? Ning Cheng did not even come down from the bull's back. Instead, he flew over. The cultivator, who wanted to teach Ning Cheng a lesson, on seeing Ning Cheng rushing over, sneered and brought out a blue on. However, before he could stimulate the blue on, he felt a strong suppression. That's right, it was suppression. It was the kind of imposing aura suppression that the strong exerted on the weak, or a kind of domain suppression. This kind of suppression caused his spiritual consciousness and celestial essence to suddenly slow down. Even if he was a fool, this celestial gatherer cultivator realized that he had met a powerhouse. Before he could speak, a huge foot arrived in front of his face. Bang! With a muffled sound, Ning Cheng kicked the cultivator directly into the yellow sand lake. Then, in front of everyone's eyes, the earth-attributed laws assimilated the cultivator into a pile of yellow sand before disappearing into the yellow sand lake. Unexpectedly, he did not even have the chance to make a move before Ning Cheng sent him flying with a kick. At this moment, the yellow sand lake turned silent. This cultivator riding the bull was too terrifying, or perhaps he was too powerful. Some of the cultivators even began to quietly leave. With such a powerhouse here, even if they managed to snatch something, it would not be their turn. The two cultivators, who knew Ning Cheng, turned even paler. They cupped their fists towards Ning Cheng and immediately retreated to the side. Even so, the two people still did not leave the yellow sand lake. Jing Yi's face also turned a little pale. She had never seen such a terrifying celestial gatherer cultivator. Many thanks for this friend's help. Although Ning Cheng did not help her, she still quickly came forward and cupped her fists to thank him. She did not dare to offend such a person. Ning Cheng gave a casual grunt. Where did you come from? The surrounding cultivators, on hearing Ning Cheng's words, intentionally or unintentionally stepped aside. In these people's view, this bull-riding fellow must have taken a fancy to this female cultivator with a veil over her face. Otherwise, he would not have come forward to help and even asked so many questions. I come from Grand Culmination Starry Sky's everlasting sacred shrine. Although Jing Yi felt worried, she still spoke calmly. Oh? Everlasting sacred shrine? Did you come alone from your everlasting sacred shrine? Ning Cheng pretended to be surprised. Yes, I came alone from my everlasting sacred shrine. Jing Yi did not know what Ning Cheng wanted to do. Therefore, when she answered, she remained very careful while secretly keeping her guard up. What puzzled her was that the powerhouse who asked the question just nodded and did not say anything more. After waiting for a long time, she did not hear Ning Cheng's words. Only then did she carefully stand a little further away. Ning Cheng's strength made many people unhappy, but no one came up to say anything. They did not come here to show off their superiority, but for the origin bead. After Ning Cheng established his prestige, he began to observe the surrounding situation. The last time he came here, he had tried it with his spiritual consciousness blade. Although it could barely enter the yellow sand lake, it would cause too much damage. Maybe he managed to snatch the Earth origin bead, but before he could take it away, someone might have killed him due to excessive consumption. This time, he had advanced to the celestial bridge realm. Therefore, when he came to this place again, The first thing he wanted to do was to check the surroundings and see if his spiritual consciousness blade could protect him and snatch the origin bead. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness circled around the yellow sand lake, and his expression immediately changed. It was not until this moment that he saw a monitoring array formation hidden above the yellow sand lake. This monitoring array formation covered the entire yellow sand lake and its surroundings. Previously, his spiritual consciousness cultivation was not high enough to see it. But this time, he could see it clearly. If someone else discovered this monitoring array formation, they might have thought that this array formation was naturally formed. However, Ning Cheng was not someone else. He had the mysterious yellow bead, a good fortune treasure. Moreover, with Tsang Wei's reminder, he immediately understood that this earth origin bead was just a bait. The person it wanted to lure was him, Ning Cheng. At this moment, even if Ning Cheng wanted to snatch the origin bead, he would have to think twice about it. Fortunately, he had changed his appearance after entering the immortal Jade Star. Otherwise, with him doing these things here, someone would have already realized where he came from. Ning Cheng guessed that the cultivator who arranged the monitoring array formation did not think that someone would be able to see through the monitoring array formation above the lake. Just as Ning Cheng anxiously thought about how to break through the monitoring array formation, someone exclaimed, "Look, there's a sapling growing in the heart of the lake." With this exclamation, almost everyone saw this sapling. It was a pale yellow sapling, growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. This is the Wind Thunder Apricot. It's definitely the Wind Thunder Apricot. I didn't expect the Wind Thunder Apricot to appear next to the Earth origin bead in such a way. Another cultivator exclaimed. At this moment, even cultivators who did not understand anything could tell that this was the Wind Thunder Apricot. This pale yellow sapling not only contained a strong wind-attributed aura, but also had faint lightning arcs surrounding it. Not only that, Ning Cheng also felt that as the Wind Thunder Apricot grew, the Earth attribute assimilation laws in the yellow sand lake also weakened. In other words, once this Wind Thunder Apricot grew to a certain extent, anyone would be able to enter the yellow sand lake. The Earth attribute assimilation laws have weakened. Since Ning Cheng could see it, the other cultivators naturally could also see it. Someone immediately spoke up. At this moment, almost all the cultivators felt excited. Once this Wind Thunder Apricot grew, the Earth attribute assimilation laws in the yellow sand lake would disappear, allowing them to freely enter and snatch it. Ning Cheng felt a little anxious in his heart. If not for the Wind Thunder Apricot, he would have had the highest chance of obtaining this Earth origin bead. Now that the Wind Thunder Apricot appeared, anyone would have a chance to obtain it. However, these things were secondary. The main thing was that there were powerhouses observing from outside the immortal Jade Star. Ning Cheng silently stared at the Wind Thunder Apricot, calculating how long it would take for the Wind Thunder Apricot to grow. Once the Wind Thunder Apricot grew, what method would he use to snatch the Earth origin bead? Chapter 610. According to the growth trend of the Wind Thunder Apricot, it would take at most 3 days for the Wind Thunder Apricot to fully mature. From this, one could imagine how many cultivators would gather here in 3 days. At this moment, everyone was staring at the Wind Thunder Apricot and trying to feel the Earth-attributed laws of the yellow sand lake. Once the Earth-attributed laws disappeared, everyone would rush in to grab the Earth origin bead and the Wind Thunder Apricot. Ning Cheng walked to the place where he placed the monitoring array disc and put away the monitoring array disc. However, no one cared about it. At this moment, Ning Cheng thought of the most direct way, that is, to break the monitoring array formation before snatching it. After breaking the monitoring array formation, everyone started to snatch the Earth origin bead. Without any powerhouses watching, Ning Cheng could do whatever he wanted. The Wind Thunder Apricot would take 3 days to mature. As Ning Cheng expected, the news of the Wind Thunder Apricot's appearance quickly spread out, causing many cultivators to flock over. Initially, because of the yellow sand lake's Earth-attributed assimilation laws, some cultivators took the initiative to leave. Now that the Wind Thunder Apricot appeared, the Earth-attributed assimilation laws slowly weakened, causing more and more people to come. Ning Cheng was originally in the innermost area, but as more and more people came, he was pushed to the back. Among these newly arrived cultivators, only a few of them knew who Ning Cheng was. If Ning Cheng did not want to step back, naturally no one could push him. But now Ning Cheng voluntarily stepped back. In less than half a day, Ning Cheng was squeezed out of the Yellow Sand Lake's monitoring array formation. Of course, Ning Cheng had calculated the range of the monitoring array formation. He calculated that after squeezing himself out of the monitoring array formation, he still retreated a dozen meters before carefully moving away. After moving away from this place, Ning Cheng changed his appearance again. This time, he changed into a middle-aged cultivator with a yellowish complexion and changed his robes before letting Chasing Bull enter the miniature world. Once again arriving at the periphery of the Yellow Sand Lake, he walked along the periphery while constantly throwing out concealment array flags. At this time, there were many cultivators wandering around the periphery like Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng was not the only one. These cultivators wanted to squeeze in, but they were afraid of offending people and could only wait outside. No wonder we couldn't find the wind thunder apricot. It turns out that this kind of spiritual object only appears at a limited time. Moreover, it only appears next to the Earth origin bead. Outside the immortal jade star, on the gray-black airship, Zhang Kong Tianji gave out a sigh. Yi Jiufeng and Xiao Jure both stared at the wind thunder apricot with longing in their eyes. The Earth origin bead was more precious than the wind thunder apricot, but the wind thunder apricot was more useful to them than the Earth origin bead. Chuan Xinlo also gave out a sigh and spoke. I once heard that the wind thunder apricot tree is a Tao fruit. It is something that can illuminate the Tao. Unexpectedly, it appeared in the immortal jade star. If that treasure of fortune doesn't come out, I'll take the wind thunder apricot. You can divide the other things among yourselves, but I must obtain the wind thunder apricot. Xiao Jierwei swallowed a mouthful of saliva and spoke in a dry voice. Chuan Xinlo frowned. It's too early to say these things. Anyway, we can all see it clearly. It was obvious who obtained the wind thunder apricot and who obtained the Earth origin bead. No matter who gets it, it will still be placed in front of us in the future. The four of us have already taken a blood oath here, so no one would dare to mess around with it. Heavenly Emperor Leveled Heart is right. This thing is right in front of our eyes. Who can snatch it away? Yi Jiufeng agreed. 3 days passed by quickly, and the wind thunder apricot was about to fully mature. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and found that the Earth-attributed assimilation law in the Yellow Sand Lake was gradually disappearing. At the same time, many cultivators were preparing to rush in. Ning Cheng knew that time was up. He could not wait for the Earth-attributed assimilation law to disappear completely before taking action. The array flags in Ning Cheng's hands fell one after another, followed by crackling sounds coming from the top of his head. Not waiting for the others to figure out what the problem was, Ning Cheng activated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, flew over everyone's heads and entered the Yellow Sand Lake. Although the Earth-attributed assimilation law in the Yellow Sand Lake had almost disappeared, it had not completely disappeared. The moment Ning Cheng entered the Yellow Sand Lake, the Earth-attributed assimilation law wrapped around Ning Cheng. However, Ning Cheng had already prepared for it. With a spiritual consciousness blade slash, his celestial river domain immediately stretched out, blocking the assimilation law outside. He did not even need to bring out the everlasting Blue Thunder City. Ning Cheng could be said to have rushed in earlier than the others because he did not intend to snatch the wind thunder apricot. His goal was the Earth origin bead. Therefore, whether the wind thunder apricot matured or not, it had nothing to do with him. However, Ning Cheng had arrived earlier than Ning Cheng. Several cultivators had already rushed in before Ning Cheng. Apparently, these cultivators were also here for the Earth origin bead. Moreover, these cultivators, like Ning Cheng, had the Earth-attributed assimilation law weakened. After bringing out their weapons, the weakened Earth-attributed laws could not harm them at all. With someone rushing in first, it immediately caused the surrounding crowd to tense up. At the same time, the 10 to 20,000 people at the edge of the Yellow Sand Lake all rushed in. Each of them wanted to grab the Earth origin bead and the wind thunder apricot. Ning Cheng had already calculated everything. He used the twin wings of the heavenly clouds and the spiritual consciousness blade. Therefore, he should have the fastest speed in this yellow sand lake. However, when he arrived next to the earth origin bead, another cultivator also arrived. This cultivator's speed was not even half a step slower than Ning Cheng's. Just as Ning Cheng's hand moved to grab the earth origin bead, a sharp murderous intent shot towards him. This cultivator did not choose to snatch the earth origin bead from Ning Cheng but chose to sneak attack Ning Cheng. As long as he killed Ning Cheng, he could snatch the earth origin bead before the next person arrived. If he used this method to deal with ordinary cultivators, it would have definitely succeeded. Unfortunately, he was dealing with Ning Cheng. Whether it was his celestial essence or domain, he could not restrain Ning Cheng. In terms of spiritual consciousness, he could not compare to Ning Cheng. If there were only two people trying to snatch the earth origin bead, Ning Cheng would have blocked this murderous intent and then killed the other party. But now, Ning Cheng knew that as long as he paused for a breath, thousands of cultivators would rush in. Because at this time, the wind thunder apricot tree had also matured, and the assimilating aura of the earth laws within the yellow sand lake had weakened to its lowest level. Ning Cheng only strengthened his celestial river domain and slightly twisted his body. However, he did not completely avoid this murderous intent and still raised his hand to grab the earth origin bead. Poof! The moment Ning Cheng grabbed the earth origin bead, a sharp killing intent pierced through his left waist. This killing intent also brought out a mist of blood. However, the cultivator who attacked Ning Cheng felt horrified. Under the suppression of his domain and killing power, Ning Cheng did not even have the slightest effect on him. In other words, if the other party had not come to snatch the earth origin bead, he would have already turned around and killed him. What a powerful cultivator, that was the only thought in his mind. Ning Cheng did not feel surprised. What was this injury to him? After obtaining the earth origin bead, the first thing he wanted to do was not to fight back but to escape. Otherwise, with so many cultivators here, if each of them attacked him, he would have no choice but to die. Sure enough, the moment Ning Cheng grabbed the earth origin bead, countless murderous intents shot towards Ning Cheng at the same time. Ning Cheng's figure twisted again and grabbed the two fruits on the wind thunder apricot tree in front of him. At the same time, his giant axe turned into thousands of axe lines and swept out. Boom, boom, boom. A burst of celestial essence explosions rang out. Ning Cheng's giant axe had no idea how many attacks it had blocked. But even so, his axe lines could not block all the incoming murderous intents. Poof, poof. Just after grabbing two fruits, dozens of attacks passed through Ning Cheng's axe lines, tore through Ning Cheng's celestial river domain, and bombarded Ning Cheng's body. Ning Cheng almost felt paralyzed. His celestial essence quickly disappeared at this moment, and even his spiritual consciousness started to wither. At this time, Ning Cheng could not care about his injuries. Stimulating the twin wings of the heavenly clouds crazily, he rushed out of the crowd in a blink of an eye, leaving behind a trail of blood. Despite the heavy injuries, Ning Cheng felt very happy in his heart. He did not manage to get the wind thunder apricot tree, but he managed to grab the earth origin bead and obtained two fruits. Most importantly, he did not bring out the everlasting blue thunder city, nor did he bring out his long spear, nor did he use the dusk spiritual technique. A group of cultivators on seeing Ning Cheng snatch the earth origin bead and escape immediately chased after him. As for the other group of cultivators, they continued to fight over the wind thunder apricot tree. If one had to say what speed was the fastest in a hurry, then in this place, Ning Cheng's twin wings of the heavenly clouds could only claim second place. In just a few breaths, Ning Cheng's figure started to fade away. The cultivator, who arrived at the earth origin bead almost at the same time as Ning Cheng, on seeing Ning Cheng escape, did not chase after him. Instead, he rushed towards the wind thunder apricot tree. Perhaps he knew that even if he caught up to the other party could still kill him with a backhand. After Ning Cheng shook off the cultivator chasing after him, he swallowed a handful of medicinal pills and then frantically concealed his aura while simultaneously using the earth escape technique. Choosing to use the earth escape technique was a temporary decision. The moment he grasped the Earth origin bead, he felt a strong sense of the laws of Earth. This allowed his understanding of the Earth escape technique to double compared to before. Moreover, as he used the Earth escape technique, his understanding of the laws of Earth also grew more profound. Another reason for choosing the Earth escape technique was that Ning Qing knew that besides using the Earth escape technique, he could not gain a foothold in the immortal Jade Star. Ning Qing had not guessed wrong. The moment he destroyed the monitoring array formation, the four powerhouses watching the monitoring array formation screen in the cabin immediately stood up. Someone saw through our monitoring array formation and destroyed it. Xiao Jierui's face turned black. Yi Jiufeng gave a snort. Puny ants, daring to covet the Earth origin bead and the wind thunder apricot. As she spoke, she could no longer stay. Her figure flashed and rushed out. The next moment, she rushed towards the immortal Jade Star. With Yi Jiufeng rushing towards the immortal Jade Star, the other three naturally did not hesitate. One by one, they all rushed towards the immortal Jade Star. The Earth origin bead was originally a bait. If the fish killed the bait and escaped, it would truly be a joke. Chapter 611. The four starry sky emperors did not care about the sealed immortal Jade Star and directly tore through the immortal Jade Star and rushed inside. The aura of the immortal Jade Star immediately overflowed, and when the cultivators standing guard outside the immortal Jade Star saw the immortal Jade Star's star-protecting grand array open, why would they remain polite? Moments later, countless flying-type magic treasures and countless cultivators charged into the city. When the several starry sky emperors rushed in, they did not care about the immortal Jade Star's star-protecting grand array. In their opinion, once the four of them entered the immortal Jade Star, the cultivator who took away the Earth origin bead would not be able to hide from them. Even if that cultivator sealed the Earth origin bead, the aura of the Earth origin bead on his body could not be removed in the shortest time possible. However, after these starry sky emperors rushed into the immortal Jade Star, they realized that they were wrong. They should have first sealed off the immortal Jade Star's star-protecting grand array before coming in. This was because they did not sense any aura from the Earth origin bead. All they found was a wind thunder apricot. Seeing Yi Jiufeng and Xiao Jierui's speed, Chuan Xinluo gave out a sigh in his heart. He knew that the blood oath between the few of them had disappeared along with the disappearance of the Earth origin bead. At this time, everyone was fighting for themselves. Whoever managed to snatch it could keep it. Brother Leveled Heart, I don't feel the aura of the Earth origin bead. We should continue to seal this star-protecting grand array. Once the cultivator who obtained the Earth origin bead leaves, it will be impossible to find him again. Although Zhang Kong Tianji looked like a savage, he had the same thoughts as Chuan Xinluo. As long as they sealed off the immortal Jade Star, that cultivator could not leave the immortal Jade Star, and the Earth origin bead would not be able to escape. Chuan Xinluo sighed. Brother Tianji, since we broke into the immortal Jade Star, we could no longer seal off the immortal Jade Star. Otherwise, why could the four of us come in but not the other starry sky emperors? If we forcibly seal it, it will only cause the star-protecting grand array to be broken and cause conflict between everyone. Now that things have come to this, everyone will have to rely on their own luck. The more Ning Qing sank into the ground, the more he felt that his decision was wise. With the Earth origin bead in hand, comprehending the Earth laws in the Earth escape technique was a perfect match. Towards the end, Ning Qing almost completely integrated with the aura of the surrounding soil. Although Ning Qing believed that if he continued to hold onto the Earth origin bead, he might be able to comprehend some Earth-attributed spirit techniques, which would go far beyond the low-level Earth escape. However, Ning Qing did not dare to continue holding the Earth origin bead. He feared that the aura of the Earth origin bead would attract the attention of powerhouses. Ning Qing directly threw the Earth origin bead into the mysterious yellow bead. After Ning Qing threw the Earth origin bead into the mysterious yellow bead immediately underwent a qualitative change. Bursts of Earth-attributed fluctuations surged within the mysterious yellow bead, and the origin bead, which originally only contained the aura of water and fire, suddenly gave off a solid aura. This was the real Earth origin aura. Ning Cheng knew that no one else could take away the Earth origin bead. It had already transformed into the Earth origin of his mysterious yellow bead. From now on, the Earth origin would slowly spread through his mysterious yellow bead and merge with the rest of the Earth origins. It was as if he had planted a seed today. One day, the seed would sprout and grow. After fusing with the Earth origin bead, Ning Cheng completely converged his aura, allowing him to become one with the surrounding soil, before continuing to sink. Ning Cheng had already broken the monitoring array formation set up by the powerhouses on the immortal Jade Star, which meant that these powerhouses would most likely rush into the immortal Jade Star. At this moment, the only thing he could do was not to let others discover that he was continuously escaping through the earth. As long as he could hide until all the cultivators who entered the immortal Jade Star left this place, he would have succeeded. Ning Cheng continued to descend into the depths of the immortal Jade Star, while the surface of the immortal Jade Star turned chaotic. Previously, because of the immortal Jade Star's vastness, only about 100,000 cultivators came in. As such, no one would start a conflict over resources. But now that 1,000,000 cultivators poured into the immortal Jade Star, the resources on the immortal Jade Star immediately became scarce. Coupled with the increase in the number of cultivators, more and more good things started to appear. At this time, fights broke out everywhere on the immortal Jade Star. Not to mention ordinary cultivators, even Yi Jiufeng and Qiao Jierui of the Four Giants were in a stalemate. After the disappearance of the Earth origin bead, the connection established between the Four Giants had also disappeared without a trace. Yi Jiufeng, if the Wind Thunder Apricot was taken away by a cultivator from your Grand Spirit Heaven Starry Sky, and you wanted to take back the Wind Thunder Apricot, Qiao Jierui, would not have said even half a word of nonsense. Now that the Wind Thunder Apricot has been snatched away by a cultivator from my Devil Domain, you even used your identity as a Starry Sky Emperor to kill a cultivator who had just advanced to the Celestial Bridge realm. Do you still have any face left? Qiao Jierui's tone turned cold, while murderous intent overflowed from his body, causing his robes to flutter without any wind, giving rise to waves of increasingly powerful imposing aura. Yi Jiufeng spoke up calmly, I already said that I only want the Wind Thunder Apricot. I've already killed that person, what do you want? Hand over the Wind Thunder Apricot to my Devil Domain, and you killed a genius cultivator from my Devil Domain. You have to give me an explanation. Qiao Jierui's tone turned even colder. How? Yi Jiufeng laughed. No one can make me, Yi Jiufeng, hand over the things that have fallen into my hands, not even you, Qiao Jierui. I already knew that joining hands with a group of incompetent people like you wouldn't bring me any trouble, and it turns out that I was right. It looks like this emperor has to do it myself. Qiao Jierui felt so angry that he didn't want to talk any more nonsense, and shot out several black lights towards Yi Jiufeng. Instead of saying 1,000 words, it would be better to fight with one's own hands. Yi Jiufeng did not fear Qiao Jierui at all. The moment Qiao Jierui made his move, the celestial essence around her started to roll up. When these celestial essence traces collided with Qiao Jierui's black lights, it immediately caused the surrounding space to explode. The immortal Jade Star's laws were not very high to begin with. Therefore, when two eternal Starry Sky Emperors fought here, how could the fluctuations set off by ordinary people compare? Yi Jiufeng did not back down, causing Qiao Jierui's anger to soar to the sky. As soon as the two of them started fighting, they immediately went all out. Chuan Xinluo and Zhang Kong Tianji, who were originally working together, seemed to have disappeared and did not even try to mediate. Yi Jiufeng had thick skin and had snatched the Wind Thunder Apricot from a Celestial Bridge cultivator from the Devil Domain. Since Qiao Jierui was the premier of the Devil Domain, he naturally had to stand up and speak up. If Qiao Jierui still had a reason to snatch the Wind Thunder Apricot from Yi Jiufeng, then Zhang Kong Tianji and Chuan Xinluo had no reason to intervene. What's more, the two of them did not want to intervene. Yi Jiufeng, this woman, was the first to rush into the immortal Jade Star, causing things to escalate out of control. The two of them did not join forces to deal with Yi Jiufeng. Moreover, an unknown cultivator had snatched away the Earth origin bead, and the only person they managed to find was a yellow-faced middle-aged man. Moreover, the starry sky wheel had never appeared from the beginning to the end. Not to mention the good fortune treasure that they wanted to fish for. At this time, Zhang Kongtianji and Chuan Xinluo both felt uncomfortable in their hearts. Asking them to mediate between them was simply a joke. As the battle between the two starry sky heavenly emperors continued, the immortal jade star gradually turned into a ravine that stretched for thousands of miles. Mountains and rivers started to flatten and rivers started to churn. The immortal jade star felt as if it had experienced an earthquake, with cultivators fleeing everywhere and demonic beasts dying from the fight between the two. However, it was not the most terrible thing. The most terrible thing was the endless streams of exploding golden wasps. These exploding golden wasps originally lived on the cliffs of the canyons, but with the two powerhouses fighting on the immortal jade star, even the exploding golden wasps could not survive. With so many exploding golden wasps, the low-leveled cultivators simply could not resist. Some of the cultivators who did not rush out of the immortal jade star immediately turned into ghosts under the jaws of the exploding golden wasps. The exploding golden wasp king, furious at the destruction of its home, led the endless exploding golden wasps to kill the cultivators. However, among the cultivators who entered the immortal jade star, apart from the four giants, there were also other eternal starry sky emperors. When the exploding golden wasp king besieged an eternal-level starry sky emperor, that starry sky emperor finally killed it. With the death of the exploding golden wasp king, the rest of the exploding golden wasps instantly turned chaotic and could no longer form a huge team of exploding golden wasps. Some of the exploding golden wasps fled around the immortal jade star, while some of the exploding golden wasps rushed into the starry sky. Ning Cheng, who had already entered the depths of the immortal jade star, did not know what happened on the immortal jade star. However, when he felt the tremors, he stopped and immediately realized that it was not good. He could feel the tremors at the bottom of the immortal jade star. There was only one reason for this: a fight between powerhouses on the immortal jade star. On a planet like the immortal jade star, once a fight broke out between powerhouses, the chances of the planet collapsing would be more than 90%. Thinking of this, Ning Qing felt anxious. Without the mysterious yellow bead, the immortal jade star would collapse, and he would end up in the inner core of the immortal jade star. However, at this moment, he did not dare to enter the mysterious yellow bead. The mysterious yellow bead's 5 elements had not yet gathered. As such, he could only enter in a place with no one around. However, the immortal jade star not only had people, but also had eternal-level starry sky emperors. Once his mysterious yellow bead was exposed, could he hide? The answer was certain. The aura of the mysterious yellow bead could not hide from the spiritual consciousness of an eternal-level heavenly emperor. At this moment, he could only hide his mysterious yellow bead in the depths of his Zifu and did not dare to move. As the tremors in the depths of the immortal jade star grew more and more intense, Ning Cheng stopped and anxiously tried to think of countermeasures. At this moment, rushing out would obviously not work. At this moment, he caught a whiff of an aura filled with vicissitudes of life. This aura was not far from him. Ning Cheng did not have the time to think about the explosion of the immortal jade star and immediately rushed to the place where this vicissitudes of life aura was. A 3-foot wide wheel appeared in front of him. This wheel had a simple and unadorned pattern on it, and at this moment, it was surrounded by the immortal jade star's star nucleus. The fight over the immortal jade star had caused this star nucleus to crack open, which allowed Ning Cheng to perceive this aura. In just a moment, Ning Cheng felt pleasantly surprised. This must be the starry sky wheel. Just as Ning Cheng perceived the starry sky wheel, several spiritual consciousnesses swept over. Ning Cheng cursed in his heart. The starry sky wheel had been exposed because of the battle. Moreover, he could feel the aura of the starry sky wheel from the starry sky wheel. Chapter 6:12. Ning Cheng knew that even if he hesitated for even a moment, the starry sky wheel would not belong to him. Not only would the starry sky wheel no longer belong to him, but even his life would no longer belong to him. Although it took him a lot of time to reach the inner core from the surface of the immortal jade star, it most likely only took a few breaths for a starry sky emperor. This number of breaths also included the time needed to sense the aura of the starry sky wheel, react to it, and enter. The moment the starry sky wheel appeared, almost all the powerhouses in the life and death realm and above felt it. Sensing the starry sky wheel, who would be willing to let it go? At this moment, as long as a cultivator could sense the starry sky wheel, they would immediately escape underground. He didn't even look at the starry sky wheel before putting it into the minor 5-element array formation within the mysterious yellow bead. At the same time, he also cast the maximal flame spirit technique. From the moment he saw the starry sky wheel to the moment he put away the starry sky wheel and brought out the maximal flame spiritual technique, it all happened in less than 2 breaths. Boom, 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 boom. Horrifying explosions erupted from the deepest part of the immortal jade star. The immortal jade star was already on the verge of collapsing. Ning Cheng's maximal flame spiritual technique became the last straw for the collapse of the immortal jade star. The huge planet exploded into countless fragments. At this time, the cultivators on the surface of the immortal jade star managed to survive. Many cultivators brought out their defensive magic treasures, but the powerful impact sent them flying into outer space. However, many cultivators ended up getting swallowed up by the immortal jade star and turned into nothingness. However, the cultivators who had already escaped underground to enter the immortal jade star bore the brunt of the violent explosion of the planet. However, at this moment, all the cultivators who entered the immortal jade star through the ground did not have a weak cultivation. This kind of explosion might be able to injure them, but it was far from being able to kill them. Even if Ning Cheng obtained the starry sky wheel, he did not dare to enter the mysterious yellow bead. He had obtained the starry sky wheel. Once it was exposed, it would lead to many cultivators hunting him down. However, once the mysterious yellow bead was exposed, it would lead to the cultivators of the entire planar boundary hunting him down. Moreover, those starry sky wheel emperors in the eternal realm might even be able to tear planar boundaries apart. Where could he escape to? While casting the maximal flame spiritual ability, he also brought out dozens of middle-grade defensive Dao artifacts. Among these defensive Dao artifacts, he also brought out the everlasting Blue Thunder City. In addition, he also wrapped his celestial river domain in layers after layers. It was all thanks to his incomparably powerful starry sky sea of consciousness. If replaced by an ordinary celestial bridge cultivator, they would never be able to bring out so many defensive weapons. However, Ning Cheng could. Although the everlasting Blue Thunder City was powerful, it did not have any good fortune aura. Therefore, if he brought it out, it would most likely explode. As for the eternal level starry sky emperors in the middle of the exploding planet, while resisting the explosion, they might not be able to discover it. Kacha. Ning Cheng's dozens of middle-grade defensive Dao artifacts cracked like eggshells and turned into nothingness. Immediately after, the everlasting Blue Thunder City also cracked open before turning into nothingness. The layers of celestial river domain wrapped around Ning Cheng's body were torn apart like thin sheets of paper by the violent explosion of the celestial body. At this time, looking at the immortal jade star from a distance, it looked just like a bright firework that had burst apart. Ning Cheng's body was torn apart like a rag by the terrifying explosion of the immortal jade star. Even his bones started to break apart layer by layer. The explosion of the immortal jade star brought about a huge shockwave that rolled up Ning Cheng and threw him away. Along with many other cultivators, he was blasted into the starry sky. Ning Cheng struggled to hold onto the breaking boundary talisman. He wanted to activate the breaking boundary talisman. However, only at this moment did he realize that his injuries were too severe. At this moment, not to mention activating the breaking boundary talisman, even surviving in the starry sky would be difficult. Ning Cheng felt a trace of regret in his heart. He should have entered the mysterious yellow bead. After entering the mysterious yellow bead, he might have ended up being hunted down by those eternal-level starry sky emperors. However, that was a matter for the future. Moreover, he did not enter the mysterious yellow bead, which now became a problem. At this moment, Ning Cheng could not control his body at all. The aura of the immortal jade star's explosion pushed him further and further away. However, no one paid any attention to Ning Cheng at this moment. He was not the only cultivator thrown out by the violent explosion of the celestial body. There were many such cultivators in this starry sky. A familiar figure appeared in front of Ning Cheng, and he saw Shi Qianghua standing on the deck in the distance. Shi Qianghua apparently did not enter the immortal jade star. Instead, she stood on the deck with some low-level cultivators and looked at the cultivators flying out of the immortal jade star in shock. "Qianghua, help me." The moment Ning Cheng reached the edge of the airship, he tried his best to call out to her. After the explosion of the immortal jade star, Shi Qianghua stood nervously on the deck and looked at the exploding celestial body in the distance. She felt worried about Sacred Master and Senior Apprentice Sister Jingyi. However, she did not dare to leave the deck to look for them at this time. She could only look among the cultivators flying around to see if she could find her senior apprentice sister. However, at this moment, she suddenly heard a familiar voice. She immediately recognized this voice. It was definitely Ning Cheng's voice. When Ning Cheng had saved her, he had asked her to leave this place first, and it was also this voice. She did not even think about it and immediately flew towards Ning Cheng, who had already disappeared into the distance. Ning Cheng did not go far because he wanted to, but because he could not control the impact of the explosion. Fortunately, at this time, the impact had already disappeared a lot, and Shi Qianghua's speed was also very fast. In just a few breaths of time, she was able to catch up to Ning Cheng, and even managed to grab hold of Ning Cheng, whose entire body was covered in blood. Ning Cheng quickly put the boundary-breaking talisman in his hands into Shi Qianghua's hands and said, "Qianghua, it's me, Ning Cheng. I don't have time to explain to you. Use this boundary-breaking talisman to take me away, otherwise, I will die without a doubt." Mustering up the last of his strength, Ning Cheng uttered those words, before he completely fainted. Not to mention him, who was in the center of the celestial body, even those eternal-level heavenly emperors, who encountered the explosion of the celestial body while escaping through the earth, all of them ended up covered in dust. The reason why Ning Cheng could survive was because of his good luck. He had many defensive Dao artifacts on him, and he also had the everlasting Blue Thunder City. Of course, the most important reason was that his spiritual consciousness was so powerful that it could simultaneously drive so many defensive Dao artifacts to resist the explosion. Coupled with the maximal flame spiritual technique that he had activated earlier, he was safe within the maximal flame spiritual technique. It was just that the celestial body's explosion had instantly extinguished his maximal flame spiritual technique. Although his maximal flame spiritual technique was extinguished quickly, it also helped him withstand some of the impact of the explosion. "Kid, if this emperor doesn't extract your soul and refine it." Zhang Kong Tianji rushed out of the immortal jade star with a face covered in dust. However, he had only spoken half a sentence when he suddenly paused. His spiritual consciousness had caught hold of the aura of the cultivator who had detonated the celestial body. But now, in the blink of an eye, that little cultivator had disappeared. Not only did he freeze, but even Chuan Xinluo, Yi Jiufeng and Xiao Jierwei, who had rushed out after him, also lost track of Ning Cheng. This person should be the one who snatched the Earth Origin bead. I didn't expect him to even snatch the starry sky wheel. How could such a low-level cultivator survive the explosion of the immortal jade star? Chuan Xinluo frowned as he looked at the center of the immortal jade star, which was still rumbling. Zhang Kong Tianji gritted his teeth. He disappeared in the blink of an eye. From this, it shows that this ant must have used a breaking boundary talisman. Even I can't detect any traces of this breaking boundary talisman. Isn't it too powerful? Who refined this talisman? Could the good fortune treasure be on this person? Yi Jiufeng spoke with a snort. Chuan Xinluo shook his head. I heard that the good fortune treasure comes with its own world, which is extremely tough. If the good fortune treasure was on him, he would have entered the good fortune treasure to avoid the explosion of the immortal jade star. However, since he did not do so, it is likely that the good fortune treasure is not on him. It is also possible that this fellow deliberately did not enter the good fortune treasure. He feared that his good fortune treasure would be exposed and attract our attention. This kid is extremely cunning. From the way he broke the monitoring array formation, we can see that. Qiao Jierui spoke with a deep voice. Chuan Xinluo still shook his head and spoke. When the immortal jade star exploded, if he had a good fortune treasure, anyone would have entered the good fortune treasure to hide in such a hurry. The other three people remained silent, apparently thinking that Chuan Xinluo was right. After a while, Zhangkong Tianji suddenly spoke up with anger towards Qiao Jierui and Yi Jiufeng. If not for the two of you fighting, how could the immortal jade star collapse? If the immortal jade star did not collapse, how could that fellow escape? Not enough to accomplish anything, but more than enough to spoil things. Qiao Jierui gave a cold snort, but did not retort to Zhangkong Tianji. Instead, his imposing aura once again shrouded Yi Jiufeng. Yi Jiufeng, since the immortal jade star exploded, you have to give my devil domain an explanation. Seeing that the two were about to start fighting again, Zhangkong Tianji and Chuan Xinluo simply entered their own void airships. After entering his void airship, Chuan Xinluo looked at the starry sky in the distance and showed a sneer. He felt sure that the cultivator who escaped had a good fortune treasure on him. Otherwise, how could he hide the aura of the Earth origin bead and the starry sky wheel that he had not refined? This little ant-like cultivator, however, was extremely cunning. In that case, he did not enter the good fortune treasure, obviously to prevent the aura of the good fortune treasure from leaking out. However, if he wanted to deceive Chuan Xinluo with such an idea, then he could forget about it. A puny celestial scryer cultivator did not deserve such a treasure. Whether it was the Earth origin bead, the starry sky wheel, or even the good fortune treasure, all of them would belong to him, Chuan Xinluo. In any case, the immortal jade star, which had been bustling for several years, finally came to an end. Of the three treasures, except for the wind thunder apricot, which was obtained by Grand Spirit Heaven Starry Skies Yi Jiufeng, the other two treasures were snatched away by a nameless junior. No one could find out who this nameless junior was, and even the 4 eternal-level Starry Sky Emperors could not do anything about it. In addition, hundreds of thousands of cultivators died on the immortal Jade Star. One could say that the Celestial Scryer Genius Tournament was a complete failure. Devil Domain's Qiao Jierui and Spirit Heaven's Yi Jiufeng had caused the immortal Jade Star to collapse. Not only that, the two of them had also fought from the immortal Jade Star to the starry sky. As a result, both sides suffered heavy losses, and no one could do anything to the other. This battle had caused the relationship between the Grand Devil Domain Starry Sky and the Grand Spirit Heaven Starry Sky to worsen. Apart from not dispatching a Starry Skies cultivator army, the relationship between the two Starry Skies had already reached a freezing point. However, Zhangkong Tianji did not speak any nonsense and silently returned with the cultivators from the Grand Demon Domain's Starry Sky. Chuan Xinluo, on the other hand, felt even calmer. After returning to the Grand Eternal Heaven Starry Sky, he directly announced that he would go into seclusion and never show up again. The rest of the cultivators also returned to wherever they came from. Chapter 613. The Sword Mountain Path was not a path, nor was it a mountain, but a cluster of castles that resembled a small town. This place was a collection of various castles that formed a small town. Rumor had it that a long time ago, this place was truly a mountain because a sword Dao expert comprehended the Dao of swords here. Many sword cultivators came here, wanting to comprehend the Dao of the sword here. However, although many people came here, only a few cultivators comprehended the Dao of swords. Over time, the sword aura of the cultivators who came here to comprehend the Dao of swords flattened the mountain and finally formed an ancient path. As time passed, the ancient path also disappeared, leaving behind only the immortal caves of the cultivators who came here to comprehend the Dao of swords. Some rogue cultivators gathered here, and over time, it formed a cluster of castles. At this time, a young girl in a blue robe with a veil over her face walked in from outside the Sword Mountain path. This young girl also carried an unconscious male cultivator on her back. The male cultivator seemed to have added another robe over his body, but even so, it could not conceal the severely injured aura of the male cultivator. That thick blood aura, as long as one paid a little attention, one would be able to detect it. This young girl in the blue robe was Shi Qianghua. After Ning Qing gave her the breaking boundary talisman, he only spoke a few words before fainting completely. She still followed Ning Qing's instructions. At that moment, she did think about handing Ning Qing over to Sacred Master and let Sacred Master save him. However, she immediately dispelled the idea. The time stones on her body belonged to Ning Qing. Since Ning Qing gave her so many time stones, it meant that he still had more. She could clearly see the desire of her Sacred Master for the time stones. Once Sacred Master found the time stones on Ning Qing, it would only spell disaster for Ning Qing. In addition, there was another reason. That is, Ning Qing had said that he would die if he stayed here. If an eternal starry sky emperor wanted to kill Ning Qing, even Sacred Master could not protect Ning Qing. Ning Qing risked his life to save her life and even gave her such precious time stones and an ancient copper coin. Even if she had nothing to do with Ning Qing in her past life, she could not be ungrateful. One had to say that Shi Qianghua left in time. She had just used the breaking boundary talisman to take Ning Qing away when the 4 starry sky emperors started searching for Ning Qing's aura. Chuan Xinluo guessed that Ning Qing had used an escape talisman to break through the boundary, but he did not reveal it. He believed that with his ability, he could definitely find the location where Ning Qing broke through the barrier. Any world-breaking talisman would leave a trace, and this trace would not disappear for a certain period of time. As long as he could find this location, he would be able to find out where Ning Qing had gone. However, he didn't know that there was a talisman refiner called Fu Lai in this world. Fu Lai's talismans didn't need to be refined, and after they were activated, they disappeared without a trace. Maybe Fu Lai's talisman truly had a trace of it, but Chuan Xinluo obviously couldn't see through it. His cultivation already stood at the peak of grand culmination starry sky, but compared to a true powerhouse, he still couldn't compare. Shi Qianghua stood on the outside of the Sword Mountain path and observed for a while, before carrying Ning Qing on her back into the cluster of castles. In fact, no one noticed her arrival. There were many cultivators going in and out of the Sword Mountain path. Just like Shi Qianghua, there were simply too many of them. Seeing that no one came to stop her, Shi Qianghua felt slightly relieved in her heart. She rarely came out alone. This time, she had used the boundary-breaking talisman to come to an unknown planet. This made her very uneasy. Although this ancient castle looked very simple and unadorned, it still had everything it should have. Not only did it have some shops, but it also had several rest stops. Shi Qianghua came to a relatively beautiful rest stop and asked the shop assistant who came to receive her, "Do you have a bigger room? It would be best if you have 2 cultivation rooms, with a higher grade shielding restriction." Of course, our South Sword rest stop is not bad, even in the brilliant Star City. The best room costs 1 million green coins a month, and there is also a room for 500,000 green coins a month. The shop assistant, on seeing business, quickly explained in detail. He didn't care about the seriously injured cultivator on Shi Qianghua's back. It would be a strange thing if there were no injured cultivators coming to this rest stop for the night. In the Sword Mountain path, there were many cultivators coming and going. However, most of them did not live in a good place and would only stay for a few days before leaving. However, Shi Qianghua, who asked for a bigger room the moment she arrived, most likely was a rich cultivator. Shi Qianghua felt slightly surprised. She really did not have any green coins on her. Although she was not rich, she still had more than 100,000 purple coins on her. She did not expect that the price here would be so cheap. Compared to the price in the Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City, it was like heaven and earth. Seeing Shi Qianghua in a daze, the shop assistant quickly added, "Of course, if you want to live a bit cheaper, it's not that there isn't." Shi Qianghua waved her hand and interrupted the shop assistant. "No, I'll stay for 500,000 green coins a month. I'll book 2 months. With that, Shi Qianghua took out 10,000 purple coins and handed it to the shop assistant. When the shop assistant saw the purple coins, he spoke up with even more joy. 2 friends, Please come with me. There were not many cultivators who used purple coins in the Sword Mountain path. As such, people would only use purple coins in the bigger Starry Sky cities. Now that Shi Qianghua took out purple coins to pay the bill, how could he not feel happy? Fortunately, Shi Qianghua still had some purple coins on her. If she did not have any purple coins, maybe she would have taken out perpetual moon pills to pay the bill. As the everlasting sacred shrine's sacred lady, Shi Qianghua often came out with the sacred master. As such, she naturally stayed in good rest stops. Compared to other Starry Sky cities, this South Sword Rest Stop's room, apart from having a slightly larger space, had no other advantages. The Starry Sky Essence Chi here was thin, while the array formations here were mediocre. Even some of the restrictions needed to be set up by one's own hands. However, Shi Qianghua did not care about it. Although her attainments in restrictions were low, she could still arrange a general shielding array formation. It did not matter whether there was Starry Sky Essence Chi or not. For her, the most important thing right now was not cultivation, but how to help Ning Qing recover from his injuries. After reactivating the restrictions in the room, Shi Qianghua immediately put Ning Qing on the wooden couch and carefully untied Ning Cheng's outer robes. Previously, she had not removed Ning Cheng's inner robes and had only helped Ning Qing put on a robe. Now that Shi Qianghua had settled down, she could carefully observe Ning Cheng's injuries. To be honest, Ning Cheng's injuries could not even be described with the word heavy. If replaced with an ordinary cultivator, perhaps their life essence would have already dissipated, instead of falling into a coma. Ning Cheng's body was covered in bloody wounds, with broken bones everywhere. Rather than a severely injured cultivator, it would be more accurate to say that he was a dying man with no intact skin. Shi Qianghua had personally witnessed the collapse of the immortal Jade Star. Ning Qing had suffered such serious injuries due to the collapse of the immortal Jade Star, yet he did not die on the spot. It could be considered as a stroke of luck. She cleaned up all the rags on Ning Cheng's body, leaving behind only a pair of shorts. Shi Qianghua hesitated for a moment, but ultimately did not help Ning Qing take off his shorts. In fact, Ning Cheng's body did not have even half a shred of beauty. It was a complete mess of flesh and blood. As for the appearance-changing mask on Ning Cheng's face, Shi Qianghua did not take it off. She could only wait for Ning Qing to wake up and take it off. After busying herself for a whole day, Shi Qianghua finally helped Ning Qing reattach all the broken bones on his body. As for whether they could grow back, she would have to wait for Ning Qing to wake up. A day later, Ning Qing still remained in a coma. Looking at Ning Qing in a coma, Shi Qianghua gave out a sigh. Whether Ning Qing could wake up or not, it all depended on him. No one else could help him. She had an inexplicable good impression of Ning Qing, and it turned out that her feelings were not wrong. Ning Qing had saved her in the Seeking Dust Mountain, and in order to save her, he had even risked his life. Nevertheless, she still did not believe Ning Cheng's words, that they were husband and wife in their previous life. But thinking about it, if they were not husband and wife in their previous life, would Ning Qing risk his life to save her just because he liked her? Would he even give away 10 of such precious time stones at once? Shi Qianghua sat beside Ning Qing and let her imagination run wild, thinking about the relationship between her and Ning Qing, and then thinking about Sacred Master. At this time, she was alone in such a remote place. Would Sacred Master think that she had fallen? After the waiter from the South Sword Rest Stop sent Shi Qianghua to her room, he still felt a little happy in his heart. Shi Qianghua was a generous person, a customer who did not bargain at all. For him, she was an honored guest. That female cultivator who just came in seemed to have paid with purple coins. A cultivator from the South Sword Rest Stop's ground floor hall came to the front of the waiter and spoke casually. This waiter had not been in the Sword Mountain path for a day or two, so how could he not understand the words of this cultivator? However, he did not care about it at all. As for the cultivators living in the South Sword Rest Stop, they would not dare to break in. Once that girl with a veil over her face left the South Sword Rest Stop, whether she lived or died, it would have nothing to do with his South Sword Rest Stop. Yes, she did pay with purple coins. The waiter replied as if nothing had happened. Chapter 614. Shi Qianghua was very cautious. Even if she did not find any danger after arriving at the Sword Mountain Path, she still did not easily leave this place. A few days later, Ning Cheng remained in a coma. Shi Qianghua also felt somewhat anxious in her heart, but she did not have any spirit pills on her, nor did she have any precious spiritual grasses on her, nor did she know anything about healing. As such, she could only feel anxious. On the 9th day, Shi Qianghua could no longer sit still and do nothing. If she continued to wait like this, there wouldn't be a healing pill falling from the sky. If she went out to look for it, she might have a chance. In a place like the Sword Mountain Path, if the Sword Mountain Huichun restaurant claimed to be the second best in terms of healing, no one would dare claim to be the best. The itinerant cultivators who sought a living in the Sword Mountain Path would find the Sword Mountain Huichun restaurant as long as they were injured and had a hard time recovering. Some rogue cultivators didn't even go to the Elixir Pavilion to buy pills and came to this place. After Shi Qianghua left the rest stop, she asked around and found the Sword Mountain Invigorating Spring Pavilion. Almost all the bones in his body are broken, his meridians are severely damaged, and he still hasn't woken up. An old man with a celestial gatherer cultivation in the rejuvenating spring hall, after listening to Shi Qianghua's description, showed a frown while repeating Shi Qianghua's words. Yes. Shi Qianghua eagerly spoke up. Senior, can you wake people up in this situation? The old man pondered for a long time before saying, I've seen this kind of situation before. Logically speaking, it should be very easy to wake up from this kind of situation. Cultivators cultivated their primordial spirits. Even if their fleshly bodies were damaged, their primordial spirits would still exist, unless their souls were destroyed. Your senior martial brother is still breathing, which means that his soul has not been destroyed. There is only one possibility. What is the possibility? Shi Qianghua almost asked from behind. The old man said unhurriedly, that is, your senior brother suffered an extremely violent shock, and his essence spirit was unable to withstand it for a while, so he fell into a coma. If this is the case, your senior brother will wake up after a while, but even if he wakes up, he will become a cripple. It's not because his primordial spirit was shaken, but because your senior brother's meridians are completely unable to recover. Of course, this is still a good situation. If it is a bad situation, after your senior brother wakes up, he will become an idiot. How can splitting a primordial spirit be simple? It had to be said that this old man was quite capable. His diagnosis was not too far off. Then what should we do? Shi Qianghua became even more anxious, but at the same time, she was even more confident in the old man's words. Because Ning Cheng had suffered a terrifying shock, which she had witnessed with her own eyes. The collapse of the immortal Jade Star, this kind of shock, how could it only be described as terrifying? The old man nodded. It's impossible for your senior brother to fully recover. As for meridians rupturing, there was no way to solve it in the rugged pillar Starland. However, you must let your senior brother wake up as soon as possible. The later he wakes up, the harder it will be for his primordial spirit to recover. Senior. When Shi Qianghua heard the old man say these two words, she immediately paused and anxiously called out again. The old man spoke with some difficulty. It's just that the pill to wake up your senior apprentice brother is not cheap. It costs more than 1,000,000 purple coins. The old man saw that Shi Qianghua's cultivation was not high, only at the celestial novice realm. For a celestial novice cultivator to come up with 1,000,000 purple coins, it really put people in a difficult position. Shi Qianghua no longer cared about anything else and quickly spoke up, Senior, can I pay with perpetual moon pills? Of course. The old man suddenly stood up. If you have perpetual moon pills, you can pay for it with just 100 perpetual moon pills. Shi Qianghua quickly took out 100 perpetual moon pills and placed it in front of the old man. Although she was cautious, she still lacked experience. If replaced with Ning Rolan, she would have hesitated for a long time. Only after seeing the medicinal pill for Ning Cheng's treatment would she have taken out 100 perpetual moon pills. Maybe she would even try to bargain over the price. Seeing Shi Qianghua really take out 100 perpetual moon pills, the old man excitedly put away the perpetual moon pills, took out a jade bottle and handed it to Shi Qianghua. This is a medicinal pill. After you give this medicinal pill to your senior apprentice brother should be able to wake up a day later. Many thanks, senior. Shi Qianghua grabbed the jade bottle and hurriedly walked out of the Sword Mountain invigorating spring pavilion. Wait a minute. Shi Qianghua had not walked far when a cultivator called out to her. Shi Qianghua stopped and looked at a man and a woman walking over in confusion. She cautiously asked, "What's the matter?" "Junior apprentice Sister Kaifeng. The three of us went out to look for a secret immortal cave. While the two of us stopped the demonic beasts, you took away the things inside the immortal cave. You didn't even bother to say hello to us husband and wife. Isn't this a bit too much?" The one who spoke was the fierce-looking female cultivator. She looked much more robust compared to the monkey-faced male cultivator next to her. "I don't know you two at all, and I'm not called Kaifeng." Shi Qianghua's heart sank as she spoke. She understood that these two people had taken a fancy to her perpetual moon pills. The monkey-faced male cultivator spoke up in a straightforward manner, "Hand over the ring, and we'll let you go. Otherwise, die." The other party had a celestial gatherer cultivation, while the other had a celestial shatterer cultivation. Shi Qianghua felt sure that she was not an opponent for these two people. It turns out to be the Bao couple who go around snatching people's things. It's really wonderful. They actually made up such an interesting story. A sudden voice arrived. Hearing this voice and seeing a young man walking over, the couple's expressions immediately turned ugly. The couple, who were originally following behind Shi Qianghua, were prepared to wait for Shi Qianghua to leave the Sword Mountain path before making their move. However, when they saw Shi Qianghua take out the perpetual moon pills, they could no longer hold back the greed in their hearts. They wanted to snatch it and leave this place. They never expected to meet the nosy Yu clan's young master. The monkey-faced male cultivator cupped his fists towards the young man and spoke, "Brother Yu, my husband and I have never neglected your mansion. I don't know why Brother Yu wants to make things difficult for us couple." The young male cultivator spoke up with disdain, "I'm just happy. With a trash couple like you, the entire Sword Mountain path has turned into a mess." The couple's expressions turned even uglier, but the two did not dare to continue talking to this male cultivator. Instead, they turned around and walked away. Many thanks for this senior apprentice brother's words. Shi Qianghua, on seeing the young male cultivator drive away the couple who wanted to rob her, quickly thanked him with a bow. The young male cultivator smiled, but before he could speak, a light green figure suddenly descended. "My lord husband, how did you end up with another beautiful woman?" The young male cultivator blushed and quickly spoke to the green-robed female cultivator, "Little sister X, it's not what you think. Just now, this junior apprentice sister was stopped by the Bao clan couple and wanted to snatch her away. I happened to see them and drove them away. So that's how it is. This little sister is so beautiful. I thought that you had taken a fancy to this little sister and was about to help you ask." The green-robed female cultivator giggled. The male cultivator felt moved in his heart. Although Shi Qianghua wore a veil, it still gave off a peerless elegance. From this, it could be seen that the face behind the veil was also not bad. Moreover, it would be extremely difficult for such a lone female cultivator to survive in the Sword Mountain path. If he could protect this female cultivator, then at least he could give her someone to rely on. Which man in his Yu clan did not have 3 or 4 wives? However, he only had one wife, which was a bit too few in comparison. Previously, when the clan head had mentioned this matter, he had only smiled and let it go. That was because he simply did not see any female cultivator in his eyes. But now this blue-robed girl suddenly appeared, as if she had fallen from the sky. It would be a good thing for her to marry him. However, not waiting for the young male cultivator to speak, Shi Qianghua quickly gave a respectful bow and spoke, "Many thanks to the 2 senior apprentice brothers and senior apprentice sisters. I'll be taking my leave now." Saying that, Shi Qianghua hurried away and turned a corner before disappearing. "Lord husband, were you really tempted?" The green-robed female cultivator pulled the male cultivator's hand and asked in a serious tone. After asking, she did not wait for the male cultivator to speak and took the initiative to speak again. The Yu clan has few people, and the clan head also wants you to marry a few more women. Since you have taken a fancy to her, then you should marry her. I saw her heading in the direction of the South Sword Rest Stop, so she should be temporarily living in the South Sword Rest Stop. When the time comes, we can directly go to the South Sword Rest Stop to ask for her hand in marriage. The male cultivator's face showed a slight embarrassment. I'm afraid that she would not agree. The green-robed female cultivator giggled again. In the Sword Mountain Path, if elder brother Fei wants to marry someone, who would not agree? You can rest assured that I'll take care of this matter. Little sister Xin, thank you for your consideration. The young male cultivator felt even more happy in his heart. His wife was so considerate, what else could he not be satisfied with? As for the girl in the blue robe he met a moment ago, not to mention that he had saved her life. Even if there was no such thing, with his Yu clan status in the Sword Mountain Path, once he proposed marriage, which woman would hesitate for even a moment? He truly had overthought things. When Shi Qianghua came back, Ning Cheng was still in a coma. She quickly put the medicinal pill into Ning Cheng's mouth. The medicinal pill immediately turned into a medicinal liquid and began to stimulate Ning Cheng's zifu. The medicinal pill that Shi Qianghua had purchased was not good. It could not improve Ning Cheng's injuries, nor could it repair his meridians and life essence. However, this medicinal pill was not fake. The only function of this medicinal pill was to stimulate his zifu, allowing Ning Cheng to wake up earlier. After Ning Cheng swallowed the medicinal pill, he did not immediately wake up. However, Shi Qianghua could clearly feel that Ning Cheng's aura fluctuated a bit more, which made her feel happy. At least the old man from the Sword Mountain Invigorating Spring Pavilion did not lie to her. After an hour, Ning Cheng's aura not only fluctuated a bit more, but it also became more stable. Not only that, but Ning Cheng also seemed to be absorbing the starry sky essence qi around him. It's just that the starry sky essence qi around him was too thin, and Ning Cheng could not absorb much. Seeing this, Shi Qianghua quickly took out a bunch of perpetual moon pills and placed them beside Ning Cheng. As soon as the perpetual moon pills came out, they instantly turned into perpetual moon pill qi and poured into Ning Cheng's body. Shi Qianghua, on seeing the effects of Ning Cheng absorbing the perpetual moon pill qi, felt speechless. She could foresee that the 10,000 perpetual moon pills would not be enough for Ning Cheng. Chapter 6:15. Some of the scattered pill qi made Shi Qianghua feel that it was a pity. She simply sat down on the edge, absorbed some of the pill qi from the perpetual moon pills and started cultivating. After Ning Cheng gave her the perpetual moon pills, she had never used them. When Shi Qianghua started cultivating, Ning Cheng had already sobered up. However, he did not immediately open his eyes, rather was trying to heal his sea of consciousness. Shi Qianghua's pill had stimulated his sea of consciousness, causing him to wake up for a short period of time. If he did not quickly heal himself, then once the effects of the pill wore off, he would once again return to his original state of deep sleep. The reason why he had chosen to restore his sea of consciousness instead of his meridians and physical body was because he had to do so. That was because once his divine sense recovered, he would have all kinds of pills. Compared to the medicinal pills brought by Shi Qianghua, they were many times better. Shi Qianghua had never used perpetual moon pills for cultivation. However, when she used the perpetual moon pills pill qi for cultivation, her cultivation progressed at an astonishing rate. It didn't take long for her to approach the celestial Shatterer realm. At first, she carefully helped Ning Cheng absorb the pill qi from the outside, trying not to let the pill qi from the perpetual moon pills overflow. In the end, she completely immersed herself in the pleasure of cultivating perpetual moon pills and forgot that this place was just a rest stop with few restrictions. Moreover, how big was the movement caused by Ning Cheng absorbing the perpetual moon pills? Even if Shi Qianghua did not cultivate, she would not be able to stop the dissipating pill qi. Is this the aura of perpetual moon pills? The cultivators outside the South Sword Rest Stop immediately felt the aura of perpetual moon pills. while the cultivators inside the South Sword rest stop immediately felt the aura of perpetual moon pills. In a rest stop, without any restrictions, there were very few cultivators who used perpetual moon pills for cultivation. At this time, 2 female cultivators arrived at the entrance of the South Sword rest stop. The younger female cultivator wore a green robe and was the wife of the male cultivator who had previously saved Shi Qianghua. Next to her was a middle-aged woman with average looks. However, there were 4 vague celestial wheels behind her, indicating that this middle-aged woman was at least a celestial bridge cultivator. Anti this? The green-robed female cultivator stopped in surprise and continued with some surprise. Are you using perpetual moon pills for cultivation? Which cultivator was this? What abundant cultivation resources! The middle-aged woman nodded. That's right. There really are people using perpetual moon pills to cultivate in the South Sword rest stop. This person truly had a lot of courage, daring to blatantly use perpetual moon pills to cultivate in this place. Look, many cultivators are rushing over here. It seems like they have smelled the fishy smell. Let's go in and take a look. When the waiter saw the 2 women coming in from afar, he hurriedly welcomed them and said with a smile, "No wonder I'm in a particularly good mood today. Turns out it's 2 esteemed guests." The green-robed female cultivator didn't care about the shop assistant's flattery. She took out a portrait and said, "Does this female cultivator live in the South Sword rest stop?" As soon as the shop assistant saw the portrait, he cursed inwardly. This woman really didn't know the severity of the situation. Although he had already reported to the rest stop steward, these 2 people were from the Yu clan. "Hurry up and answer." The middle-aged woman snorted in dissatisfaction when she saw the waiter's hesitation. The waiter quickly replied, "This female cultivator does live in our rest stop, but the guest is currently in secluded cultivation, so..." The green-robed female cultivator spoke up in surprise. "Is this woman the one who used perpetual moon pills to cultivate and caused such a big commotion?" The waiter froze for a moment. Didn't these 2 come here because of the overflowing aura of the perpetual moon pills? He quickly reacted and spoke, "Yes, it is her who is cultivating." The green-robed female cultivator looked at the middle-aged woman in surprise. Although she did not speak, the middle-aged woman understood what she meant. That is, this foreign female cultivator turned out to be quite wealthy. The middle-aged woman coughed and spoke, "It doesn't matter. We will be careful when we go up and try not to disturb her cultivation." After saying that, the middle-aged woman ignored the anxious waiter and went straight upstairs. The green-robed female cultivator naturally ignored the waiter and quickly followed up. When the restriction at the door touched, Shi Qianghua woke up. Only then did she discover the overflowing aura of the perpetual moon pills. Now that someone came to the door, maybe it was because of the perpetual moon pills. Immediately, Shi Qianghua's spiritual consciousness saw 2 women. She also recognized the green-robed one, the wife of the male cultivator who had saved her. "Excuse me, are the 2 seniors looking for me?" Shi Qianghua stood up and opened the restriction. The middle-aged woman and the green-robed female cultivator quickly entered the room. When the green-robed woman saw Ning Cheng lying in the room, she showed a smile and spoke, "I don't know if little sister still remembers me?" Shi Qianghua bowed and spoke, "Many thanks for saving me. My name is Yang Exin, and the one who saved you is my husband Yu Fei. Today, I came with Aunt Eugenie." Yang Exin spoke with a smile. Without waiting for Shi Qianghua to speak, she took the initiative to sit down. She even motioned for Eugenie to sit down. Shi Qianghua's face remained calm, but she felt slightly uncomfortable in her heart. This room belonged to her, and without her permission, these 2 people acted as if this place was their own home. "You can also sit down. I didn't expect you to use perpetual moon pills for cultivation." Yang Exin turned from guest to host. While speaking, she glanced at Ning Cheng inside the room. For Ning Cheng, 10,000 perpetual moon pills were nothing. At this moment, he had almost consumed all of them. Although Yang Exin and Eugenie came in, they did not see Ning Cheng absorbing the perpetual moon pills for cultivation. "I don't have many perpetual moon pills, and I've already used them up." Shi Qianghua replied calmly. What she said was the truth. She had truly used up the 10,000 perpetual moon pills. It doesn't matter. We are not here to ask you for perpetual moon pills. Yang Exen spoke with a smile. By the way, my husband saved you today. What do you think of my husband? Senior apprentice brother Yu is a dragon and phoenix among men. Speaking with justice, this junior admires you greatly and is very grateful. Shi Qianghua spoke in a tone that was neither arrogant nor humble. Yang Exen shook her head and spoke, You don't have to call yourself a junior. I came here today for a happy occasion. Hearing this, Shi Qianghua's heart sank. She immediately recalled what Yang Exen had said to Yu Fei. Sure enough, Yang Exen continued, in the Sword Mountain Path, the Yu clan is the premier aristocratic family. Not only do they have experts in the undead realm, but they also have many celestial bridge cultivators. Aunt Yi, who came with me today, is a celestial bridge expert. My husband is the next clan head of the Yu clan and is also a celestial gatherer cultivator. He feels very tempted by you. You are alone here, even the Bao couple can bully you. I think it would be better for you to marry into our Yu clan. In the future, we will assist my husband together. At least in the Sword Mountain Path, no one will dare to bully you anymore. Shi Qianghua stood up and calmly spoke. Many thanks to the two of you for your kindness, but my heart already belongs to someone else. Just wait for my senior apprentice brother to wake up and I will definitely repay you. Seniors, please go ahead. This junior won't send you off. Hearing Shi Qianghua's refusal, Yang Exen and Yu Shini were somewhat surprised. A female celestial novice rogue cultivator came to the Sword Mountain Path and actually refused the marriage proposal of the Yu clan? Didn't she know that she wouldn't be able to last long here alone? The middle-aged woman's expression turned cold. Do you know the consequences of rejecting my Yu clan? My Yu clan will not force you to repay this life-saving grace. However, since you used perpetual moon pills to cultivate here, many people know that you have perpetual moon pills. Even if you don't leave the Sword Mountain Path, someone will find you here. Wait for your senior apprentice brother to wake up and repay the life-saving grace? Your senior apprentice brother is a waste, how can you repay him? Shi Qianghua's tone remained the same. I have my own choice and no one can change it. Ha, good, let's see how you choose when you have no way to go. Let's go. The middle-aged woman flicked her sleeves and stood up in anger. Yang Exen stood up and looked at Shi Qianghua for a while, before shaking her head. She had never seen such a stupid woman before. At this time, when others were eager to marry into the Yu clan, she even rejected the marriage proposal from the Yu clan. It was simply too stupid. Shi Qianghua watched the two women walk out of the room and was just about to activate the restrictions when she heard Ning Cheng's voice. Qianghua. Senior apprentice brother Ning, you woke up? Shi Qianghua turned around and called out in surprise. Ning Cheng gave an nth sound, as his spiritual consciousness swept out. Suddenly, several array discs appeared out of thin air in front of Shi Qianghua. Qianghua, quickly rearrange the restrictions in this room with the array discs. I can only use my spiritual consciousness now, my body has not yet recovered. It was as if Shi Qianghua had found her backbone, as she quickly picked up the array disc that Ning Cheng had thrown out, and arranged all the restrictions around the room. With all the array discs arranged, the dispersing perpetual moon pill aura quickly disappeared without a trace. Senior apprentice brother Ning, how long will it take for your body to recover? After arranging the array discs, Shi Qianghua nervously asked. Ning Cheng was silent for a moment before he spoke. If I start to use the pills now and then go all out to recover, it would probably take about 10 days, but I do not want to recover. Shi Qianghua looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. If senior apprentice brother Ning did not restore his corporeal body, then she would not be able to live in this place for a long time. Do you have a higher level body refining art? In other words, after an ordinary cultivator refines his body to the 9th level, how will his body be improved? Ning Cheng knew that Shi Qianghua came from the everlasting sacred shrine, and had also undergone body forging in her past life. Perhaps Shi Qianghua had a higher level body forging cultivation method. To him, he only needed to know the direction of his new body refinement. The reason why he did not use medicinal pills to heal the serious injuries on his body was that he had a feeling that his bones were completely broken, and even his meridians were covered in cracks. If he had a powerful body forging cultivation method, then he was sure that he could reconstruct his corporeal body and bones, allowing his body forging to advance to the next level. Otherwise, in the future, if he wanted to reconstruct his body and reconstruct his bones, then he would have to go through the same process again. Shi Qianghua did not understand why Ning Qing wanted a body forging cultivation method. She hesitated for a moment before speaking. I do not have a high-level body forging cultivation method, but I know that after one's body forging reaches the 9th level of God body, if one wants to advance again, then one must undergo nirvana. Shi Qianghua was not a fool. When she spoke about nirvana, she immediately understood. Ning Cheng's current appearance, was it not the best time for him to undergo nirvana? Ning Cheng suddenly understood. His sea of consciousness and flame both needed to undergo nirvana to advance to the next level. It was naturally the same for his body forging. It really was the case of the person directly involved being blinded. He did not even think of this. Chapter 6:16. Starry Sky cultivators rarely chose to undergo body forging, mainly because body forging required a lot of cultivation resources. Moreover, it also required a top-grade body forging cultivation method to complement it. Otherwise, body forging would just be a waste of time and energy. If that were the case, then it would not be a big deal. Ordinary cultivators did not have a good body forging cultivation method, nor did they have good restorative resources. Once their bodies underwent body forging, it would cause permanent damage to their bodies. Once their bodies were damaged, not to mention body forging, even cultivation would have a lot of side effects. Therefore, cultivators who chose body forging, all of them had a deep background and a strong will. Shi Qianghua did not expect Ning Qing to be a body forging cultivator. A rogue cultivator who was a body forging cultivator definitely would not have a bad opportunity. However, from Ning Cheng's question, she could see that Ning Qing did not cultivate a cultivation method for body forging. She sighed and spoke out the only thing she knew. I heard that body forging cultivators need treasures to achieve nirvana. Generally speaking, treasures are top-grade treasures that can reshape the corporeal body. Even if you have a cultivation method without a top-grade body forging treasure, and without a body forging cultivation method, I'm afraid. Ning Cheng understood Shi Qianghua's meaning. She was worried that he did not have a body forging cultivation method, and worried that he did not have a nirvana treasure. However, Ning Cheng did not worry about it. His body forging cultivation method was something that he had derived from the embracing Yang God tactic. Now that he had a direction, he believed that he could deduce it himself. As for body forging treasures, Ning Cheng frowned. He had a heavenly cusp flower before, but it had already been used up by chasing bull. However, the grade of the heavenly cusp flower did not seem to be high enough. Now that he was in the celestial bridge realm, he naturally could not use the heavenly cusp flower. The best treasure he had was naturally the 9-colored mirage tree. However, whether the 9-colored mirage tree could reshape the body, Ning Cheng did not know. Moreover, the 9-colored mirage tree required the power of hope to move. Although he had advanced to the celestial bridge realm, whether he could use the 9-colored mirage tree was another matter altogether. In addition to the 9-colored mirage tree, he also had the geocentric 9 in essence, rootless green bamboo, wood essence and many other good things. After considering it for a long time, Ning Cheng decided to use the rootless green bamboo to reshape the body. The rootless green bamboo was a treasure that could reshape the life essence. Moreover, it was several times more precious than a treasure that could reshape the corporeal body. However, Ning Cheng could not find anything better than the rootless green bamboo. If the rootless green bamboo really couldn't reshape his body, then he wouldn't undergo nirvana first. He would recover from his injuries first. After making his decision, Ning Cheng directly spoke to Shi Qianghua. Qianghua, this time I really have to thank you. If not for you, I'm afraid that I would have met with disaster. Shi Qianghua shook her head and spoke. Senior apprentice brother Ning, you don't have to say such things. Back in the Seeking Dust Mountain, You risked your life to save me, so it is only right for me to help you. Slightly hesitating, Shi Qianghua continued, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, why don't you just call me Junior Apprentice Sister Qianghua from now on? Apparently, she felt that Ning Cheng calling her Qianghua was a bit too intimate. Ning Cheng's previous injuries were something that could not be helped. Ning Cheng secretly sighed in his heart, if not for the Yu clan, how could Qianghua stand in front of him and not recognize him? Putting these sad thoughts aside, Ning Cheng spoke up, Junior Apprentice Sister Qianghua, we cannot continue to live here. I've heard what the two women said earlier. Living in this place is not safe for us. If we don't move, I'm afraid we'll be in danger. Ning Cheng wandered outside all year round. As such, he had a lot more experience compared to Shi Qianghua. Although the two women did not directly force her, they would definitely use other methods to oppress Shi Qianghua. But where can we go? With my speed, once we leave the South Sword Rest Stop with you on my back, someone would immediately attack us. When I went to help you ask for medicine, I was almost intercepted by a man and a woman. This place is not safe at all. Shi Qianghua spoke with some worry. She also knew that this place was not safe, but she also knew that once they left the Sword Mountain path, she and Ning Cheng would be in even more danger. I know I have a companion beast with good speed. Even ordinary celestial bridge cultivators would not be able to catch up to it. Once we leave the Sword Mountain path, you can quickly leave this place with your companion beast. Ning Cheng spoke calmly. He also had a faster Starry Sky battleship, but a Starry Sky battleship was not a magical weapon. It was too big and too eye-catching. Using Chasing Bull to leave this place, it would be the best choice. Then where are we going? Shi Qianghua felt an inexplicable trust in Ning Cheng's words. If Ning Cheng said that they could leave, then they would definitely be able to leave. Ning Cheng pondered for a moment before speaking. After I go down, you can buy a jade strip map of this planet. I'll take a look at the position on the jade strip map. Shi Qianghua responded with a simple tone. When are we leaving? Right now. After Ning Cheng finished the sentence, his spiritual consciousness swept out and found the waiter of the South Sword Rest Stop arriving at the door of their room, while simultaneously activating the restriction. Shi Qianghua opened the restriction and asked in doubt, Is there something wrong? The waiter stood at the door awkwardly and spoke, I'm sorry you too. Someone from our rest stop has booked this room, so you can only move out temporarily. Although Shi Qianghua had a mild temperament and rarely got angry, this waiter's words still made her face turn red with anger. This was clearly bullying. She had already paid 2 months' worth of rent to stay in this place. How long had she stayed here? It was simply outrageous to ask her to move out. Even if she wanted to leave, she still felt very uncomfortable in her heart. Ning Cheng suddenly spoke up, Then you can refund the rent to us. The waiter suddenly bowed and spoke, I'm really sorry, but I can't make the decision. Our rest stop's deacon came. He said that the lodging fees of the tenants will not be refunded. Shi Qianghua could not bear it any longer. If we had left on our own, then you would not have refunded it. But now you want to drive us away, yet you still want to deduct our room fees? The waiter's face turned a little red, and even after holding back for a long time, he still could not come up with an explanation, and spoke up again. This is the decision of our deacon. Ning Cheng smiled. The room fees will not be refunded. By the way, do you have a jade strip for this planet? Can you sell it to me? The waiter quickly took out a jade strip and handed it to Shi Qianghua. This is my own, you don't need to pay any celestial coins. Ning Cheng motioned to Shi Qianghua to put away the jade strip, and then spoke to the waiter, Go back and tell your deacon that Jiangzhou's Ning Cheng sends his regards. Shi Qianghua suddenly thought that the two words Jiangzhou sounded very familiar, as if she had heard it somewhere before. After saying that, Ning Cheng turned to Shi Qianghua and said, Qianghua, let's go now. Ning Cheng then called out Chasing Bull. The rest stop's waiter on seeing Ning Cheng call out Chasing Bull did not find it strange. After all, many cultivators had companion beasts. Moreover, a black bull companion beast was not worth many celestial coins. As soon as Chasing Bull came out, it immediately cried out in shock. Oh master, who the hell is this, to make master suffer such heavy injuries? This old bull must swallow him. Ning Cheng spoke up in an angry tone, "Less nonsense, let's go." Shi Qianghua understood Ning Cheng's meaning. Ning Cheng had originally planned to call out his companion beast after they left the Sword Mountain path. But Ning Cheng called out his companion beast at this moment, which meant that he understood the urgency of the situation. She quickly stepped forward and put Ning Cheng on her back. Not waiting for her to speak, Chasing Bull tactfully knelt on the ground and spoke, "Madam, please carry my master up. This old bull will walk very smoothly." Shi Qianghua's face turned red. She couldn't talk to this stupid bull without any moral integrity. Looking at Chasing Bull carrying Shi Qianghua downstairs, the waiter felt a strange feeling. He had never seen such an interesting companion beast before. Shi Qianghua sat on Chasing Bull's back and walked out of the South Sword Rest stop with Ning Cheng on her back. As soon as Ning Cheng came out, he felt several spiritual consciousnesses falling on him. Apparently, these people were waiting for Shi Qianghua to come out and then chase after her out of the Sword Mountain path. That was because they knew that Shi Qianghua had to leave the Sword Mountain path. Since the South Sword Rest stop did not dare to take her in, then other rest stops would not dare to take her in. "Master, where are we going?" Chasing Bull asked as soon as it came out of the rest stop. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already scanned through Shi Qianghua's jade strip map and already knew where to go. Although Chasing Bull asked, he did not answer. Instead, he spoke to Shi Qianghua. "Qianghua, let Chasing Bull scan the jade strip." Ning Cheng couldn't change his words, so Shi Qianghua could only let him do as he pleased. Since she already carried him on her back, why should she care about these details? After Chasing Bull scanned the jade strip, Ning Cheng immediately sent a sound transmission to Chasing Bull. "On the periphery of the Sword Mountain path, there is a sword valley. Let's go to that place. Now run as fast as you can. If I find someone following us, just wait for me to turn you into stew." Chasing Bull originally wanted to ask a few more questions, but after hearing Ning Cheng's words, it did not dare to say a single word. It quickly spread its hooves and turned into an afterimage as it quickly disappeared into the cluster of castles along the Sword Mountain path. Several cultivators standing on the side of the road could not even sense its shadow before they saw Chasing Bull disappear without a trace. Such a fast speed. A cultivator subconsciously spoke up. But then he remembered his task and his expression suddenly changed. Quickly taking out a messenger flying sword, he wrote down a few words before quickly bringing out the flying sword. Then he stimulated his celestial essence and chased after Chasing Bull. On the Sword Mountain path, there were many cultivators waiting for Shi Qianghua and Ning Cheng. Just as Ning Cheng had guessed, some of them were cultivators arranged by the Yu clan to deal with the two of them. Yu Fei would come out and deal with these cultivators, forcing Shi Qianghua to go to the Yu clan. However, no one could have imagined that Shi Qianghua would move so quickly after leaving the South Sword Rest stop. Even the best celestial-grade battleship would not be much faster than this. By the time these cultivators reacted, Chasing Bull had already left with Ning Cheng and Shi Qianghua. Not only that, but their spiritual consciousness could not even sweep into the place where Chasing Bull was. Facing an array formation grandmaster like Ning Cheng, it would have been a strange thing if their spiritual consciousness could track him. "Senior apprentice brother Ning, where are we going?" Shi Qianghua felt relieved when she saw Chasing Bull's speed. "To the Sword Valley." As soon as Ning Cheng spoke the word Sword Valley, Shi Qianghua exclaimed in surprise. The jade strip indicated that the Sword Valley was filled with terrifying sword chi all year round, which meant that it was a desperate situation. Since they had already escaped, why would they go to a desperate situation like the Sword Valley? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.